Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Howdy, y'all. This is Red O'Loughlin on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. In other places in the world, they say welcome. But today we have a special show. It's on a Sunday, and it's so special that instead of Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck being here to welcome everyone, I was allowed that honor, and I really and truly appreciate it. Today is a unique day, 60 years of age for Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and on top of that, she also has a book release. So two things occurring today. And USA Global TV and Radio Network has nearly 30 shows a week. And today is a weekend show, a rarity, but it does happen. So without further ado, I'm bringing out Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and we will be wishing her a happy birthday and bringing other guests on here very shortly.
Hi, Red. Howdy doody. How are you?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Dr. Jacalyn. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, so exciting, Red. It's been an amazing celebration. I've had all kinds of surprises from out of nowhere, out of the blue, and it just means so much. I truly feel loved.
Well, you look wonderful today, 60 years of age. What is the secret to your success in both the business and health and personal world?
I am completely neurotic. I would say that is my secret. I'm a perfectionist, and I'm just completely driven all the time. I got up today and I ran 3.5 miles. Then I did wind sprints. Then I went for a walk. Then I went to Solid Core. Then I had a luncheon. Girls took me out for lunch, which was great. So I try to pack as much in as I can. And I just try to be, I don't try to, but I'm very grateful for everything that I have and for all the amazing people like you who come and bless this platform and my life every day. So thank you.
So how many gold stars did you get at lunch?
I got a lot. There's actually a big surprise and I started to cry. So I managed to get my eyelashes back on in time for the show.
Well, we have two other guests standing with us right now in the backstage. I'm bringing out the first one from, I believe, the United Kingdom, if I remember right. Carolyn, would you please join us?
Caroline, the Harley Street stress expert. We actually have 6 people backstage right now. Yeah. Hi, Caroline. Welcome.
Birthday. Whoa. Sexy and 60.
Well, I really feel so blessed that, I actually took a picture of myself in a bikini, which I think was a little bit out there, but I thought if not now, then when? When I'm 80? I don't think so. So I feel grateful for the things I've learned on this platform from you, Caroline, from Red, and from so many of our team members about what it takes to live a long and healthy life.
Do they sing Happy Birthday in the United Kingdom, or do they sing something else?
No, we do Happy Birthday. I was thinking about trying to do Marilyn Monroe, but the thought was there, Dr. Jacalyn, but I can't do that voice. So if you can imagine, visualize in your mind.
I'm visualizing you, Caroline. It's something else.
That is kind of an iconic happy birthday.
Absolutely. And it's Dr. Jacalyn.
One of the ladies here in my local area, just a few miles away, she does a Marilyn Monroe impersonation, and she has for a long time, and she does it exceptionally well.
Well, where is she, Red?
Well, something we probably ought to have her on one of our shows.
That would be a good idea.
I hadn't even thought about her, but I bet she would really enjoy that.
I would enjoy it as well. And but we have somebody on our platform who can sing that song. I forget who it is. Maybe it's Diane Floyd Bame. I don't know. Let's bring her up. I think it's her. Hi, Diane. Welcome.
Hi. Yeah, you all stole my thunder of singing happy birthday.
Well, go right ahead. Don't let us stop you. This is a free-for-all day.
Let's see. Well, I'll just do a bit of Marilyn. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. And then the real one is happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. Happy birthday to you.
Wow, Diane, that was exceptional.
I probably shouldn't have drank that iced tea before I started singing for Marilyn Monroe, but oh well.
You've got to go back, Diane, please. No, that was exceptionally beautiful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually done on the podcast.
Oh, nice.
And your bikini picture, I want to tell you, you have so much guts, and you show, because of your workouts, that everybody can have toned muscles at 60.
I agree. I believe that you can. You just have to put yourself out there and make the effort. It's like anything else.
Yes, that's right. And as Red reminded us on one of y'all's wonderful shows, what Clint Eastwood said, but for us girls, it's don't let the old lady out.
The old woman.
The old woman in this shoe.
Yeah. So I shall always be 30.
Of course.
Because if you act 30, you are 30. And my goodness, I think you act 20. I need your energy, Dr. Jacalyn. So blessings to you for 60. I'm so happy for you. And I know you're going to be blessed with the long longevity because you have so much to give to the world as you're doing now.
Oh, thank you, Diane. I really appreciate it. And I love you and Caroline and Red as well. And we've got some other people backstage. And just so people know, you can stay, you can go, you can come back, you can never come back. No, we don't want that. Whatever it is that works for you. Let's welcome Justin Merigliani, who's joining us from New Jersey. Hi, Justin.
Hi, Dr. Jacalyn. Happy 60th.
Thank you. Thanks for being here.
You know, most people at 60 are trying to think about retirement, trying to get ready to roll it down. You're ramping it up at 60. I think it's great.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Justin. What am I going to do if I ramp it down?
Don't ramp it down.
No.
There's no reason to.
There's too much to accomplish. That's for sure.
I'm 48 and I have guys that I graduated and women who I graduated college with who are talking about retirement. I'm saying, you're 48.
Yeah.
They're such babies.
I've been busier in retirement than I have any other time in my life. I can't even keep up with the to-do list.
Right. And that's the way it should be.
It keeps you young and it keeps you feeling relevant. And there's always something else that we can be doing if we keep our hearts and our minds open.
Yep, that's true.
Now, there is one thing I can do that I didn't do when I was back in the work-a-day world, is I can take an afternoon nap. May only be 10 minutes, but I can still take an afternoon nap. And that's a big deal some days.
Will you be napping during the show?
You never know.
That's only on food and emotions. No kidding. Let's welcome Dr. Madeline Chan, who's also backstage. Hello. Welcome, doctor.
Hey, hi. Happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. Happy wonderful 60th. Oh my gosh, you're not 60.
Thank you.
You're not.
Back. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, it's getting back. This is the first time it's really got back. So it's your birthday that's inspired me, because I really wanted to have my voice to express happy birthday to you. I mean, not sing, obviously. I'll leave that to you. But the fact that, you know, I agree with what Diana Floyd says. I find you amazing. Oh my gosh, your figure. Wow.
I love that word, figure. Your figure.
Your figure. Super status. Honestly, just truly inspirational in every way. You're like a 25-year-old.
Well, thank you. That's how old my mom thinks I am. The funny thing
Yeah.
is, my mom took the picture and I dragged her all through the house. Try it here, try it there, try it here, try it there. She's such a good sport. She doesn't remember it, but it was fun. But we've
Wow.
got a couple of other people backstage too. Doug Lawrence joining us from Canada. Hello, Doug.
Hello, hello. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I wanted to comment on everybody talking about retiring. I've done it 4 times now.
Tell us more.
So, well, I went into the RCMP, retired from there, then went into government and worked there for a bit. And then I went from there into management consulting and then back to government. And then from there back into, actually, then I started my own company and here I've been.
Well, we're so glad that you're here on the platform. Doug has 2 shows with us now, which is incredible. So thank you, Doug.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. We also have somebody else, by the way, who just joined our team. I hope he's going to turn on his camera. Joseph, also joining us from Canada. Let's see if he turns on his camera. Not quite yet. Okay. He's probably with his baby. But so I'd love for us to just share a little bit about a favorite birthday memory that we each have. Who wants to start? Caroline? Great. We'll go with you. Unmute, please. Can you unmute Caroline?
Sorry about that. One of my very favorite birthday memories is, and it's going to really bamboozle you because it was something that I did alone. I went to a Tibetan Buddhist temple for the first time ever, and I literally sat in prayer for an hour in my very first experience of being in a Tibetan temple. And it was just amazing. It was so incredible, the feeling. And this monk came in and he kind of ushered me, am I okay? And it set the scene. I did that for lunch, and then I went out for lunch, and in the evening I did a cacao ceremony and a gong bath. So I was dancing and chanting, and I know that might sound like it's not very wonderful, but actually I was in 7th heaven. I was completely blissed out. I was feeling orgasmic. So,
it's a G-rated show. Stop. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
and that was really because I started the day in prayer and in meditation, and then I finished the day in meditation, but in an orgasmic meditation where I was dancing and singing, and it was no alcohol, and I felt absolutely incredible. And it was the very first time I'd actually spent a whole day doing that kind of thing. And some people said to me, Caroline, that's just so you. So that was one of my greatest moments about starting the day in a Tibetan monastery.
And for anyone who would like to share this experience with Caroline, her contact information is right there. So Caroline's phone ringing off the hook. Who wants to go next? Thanks, Caroline. Diane.
Okay.
I was sitting here trying to decide between my 40th or my 50th, but so I'll just share real quick the highlight of each. My 40th, because my husband surprised me, and as you know, I have 5 brothers, but they always get together, and sometimes they forget they have a sister. So they had never been to my home in Austin, and all of a sudden they came. And my daddy was able to come. Mama lives in Virginia, and so she wasn't able to. But that was just it was just an amazing moment, to have all my brothers in the same house with me. So, because to me, it's nothing like family. And then just real quick, on the 50th, I wanted to do something incredible, something that I would have never thought I would do. And so I joined a team of 12 girls, and we dog sled in the Arctic for 10 days and raised money for breast cancer. And I learned that I was stronger than I ever dreamed I could be. So that was pretty cool.
Wow, Diane. That's not something you hear every day. That's really amazing. Were you with Julie?
Oh, yes, I was with Julie. And so we went out to Dubai, and I represented the U.S., not formally, but each person represented a country. And you were in charge of your dogs, nobody else. So you learned how to manage 12 dogs. You had to feed them in the freezing cold. And yeah, it was amazing. Just, it was amazing. Just, there's no words to describe how much growth and beauty that I learned.
It does sound like a once in a lifetime experience. We'll have to have you on Global Adventures to talk about that with Janetta. Before we go to Justin, let's welcome our newest team member who now has his camera on. Joseph Stetter came to us for our launch party that we had back in January, and he and I have been working behind the scenes with another individual for something that's coming soon. But let's welcome our newest elevated listener joining us from Canada, Joseph Stetter. Hello, welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Have you gotten any sleep with your young child, your son there?
Sleep. What's that? He actually, his first tooth came out, so he's it's very exciting because I think the first one's usually the hardest, but now this is kind of the routine's getting back to normal. So
Fantastic.
Happy birthday, Jacalyn, again to you.
Thank you.
You look fantastic.
I
feel so underdressed. I should have worn my shiny shirt.
And Joseph, as you're new to the team, we've had you on some interviews, but you help people find gainful employment. You're also an educator. Tell us a little bit about your background.
So I am basically a resume whisperer. So I help people land their dream job now. I've helped over 11,000 people find their dream job in as little as 2 days. And I'm a corporate culturist, so kind of a recruiter that also helps companies build a corporate culture. Teach by day as well, because, I'm bored and don't have enough on my plate.
What part of Canada you're from?
Toronto.
Thank you so much. And just a quick story about how life is. I went to my beloved Solid Core, and there was a woman who does the class, and she was over on another machine, and she decided to relocate next to me because she said I inspire her. And she was telling me that she was actually looking for her next opportunity in her life. And I introduced her to Joseph. I saw her today for lunch, and she could not be any happier. She is raving about him. So for anybody out there who's looking to change careers, he's the man to call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I aim to serve.
All right, we're going around talking about one of our favorite birthday memories. We're over to Justin. Oh, sorry, he had already jumped out. Justin?
Yeah, so in 2002, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis 2 days before my birthday. Fast forward to 2015, and I had what was called a total proctocolectomy with permanent ileostomy. And around that was in September 24th of 15, and my birthday is December 20th. And I was not doing well right after surgery, really struggling, really tough October. I didn't turn the corner until about November. And even though we did it every year, it was just amazing to be able to enjoy something for the first time, really like wrap myself into something. And my wife and 2 kids, Amy and Alex and Rebecca, they took me down to Philadelphia, and we went to see the light show at the Macy's. It used to be called the Wanamaker Show down in Philly. It's pretty popular in Philadelphia. Now it's the Macy Day Show. So we went there and watched the lights, and we went to see Santa, and we went to get something to eat at Reading Terminal Market, which is a big deal down in Philly. And it was the first time since surgery that I could really, really say, you know what, I turned the corner, and now, life's starting over again. And that was one of my favorite birthdays.
Wow, I love that. Thanks for sharing that. And anyone who has never been to Philadelphia to see that light show, I think it's Macy's now, isn't it?
It is Macy's, yes.
Do they still do it?
They still do it. It's no longer John Facenda. Now it's can't remember who it is now. Julie Andrews.
The hills are alive. That Julie Andrews or no?
That Julie Andrews, yes.
Okay.
She narrates it.
Beautiful. Thank you. Who wants to go next and share about their birthday experience? Red?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, most of the time, it seems like I was always gone somewhere for 2 weeks to the military. If I just gone one time, I was gone twice in a summer. My birthday's in September. And one time I actually had Marilyn with me, my wife. It was late 90s. I was stationed in Stuttgart, Germany. And from this is my 52nd birthday, if I'm remembering it right. And we left Stuttgart, Germany, went up to Berlin, spent some time in East Berlin and West Berlin. Got lost a couple times because the train system there in East Berlin just doesn't naturally go into West Berlin easily. There's U-Bahn and the S-Bahn, and you sit there and you look at maps. And I think there was a European vacation. They kept going by and they shouted at Big Ben, and as they went by, driving by, and my wife and I got to the point where that was one of the times we drive. Oh, here's Big Ben again, and about 2 or 3 more times after that, I finally figured out what we were doing wrong. But then from there, we went up to Copenhagen, spent a couple of nights, went up to Oslo, spent a couple of nights, and then just took a nice leisurely drive home. I think I had about a weekend, maybe 8, 9 days off at that point in time. So that was probably one of my more memorable birthdays, is the fact that had my wife with me, and we got a chance to do some traveling, here, there, and yonder in Europe.
Another beautiful story. Thank you. Do most of you prefer traveling alone? I mean, if you're with someone, that don't even answer that question, because that will get you in trouble. Dr. Chan, what about you? What's your favorite memory?
Okay. Well, even though I'm 53, I've never been to like a hen party or a wedding party as such. So for birthday, I would say I have a birthday song. When I was 18, I was super got the hots for the pools guy. And the pools guy is the guy that comes along on every Thursday evening with the pools, the football pools, and you have to put who's going to win the team. And I fancied this guy like crazy. His name was Gunter. Anyway, my mom did a secret 18th. And so she arranged it that he would be there. And he knew I had a crush on him for ages, like for 2 years. Finally, I get 18 and I'm wearing all red, beautiful red dress. And he asked me to dance, and it was Lady in Red.
Oh, I love that.
I love it.
Great. What happened next?
Well, he had his girlfriend there.
Oh.
And then I found out. I did it because my mom was
I was expecting a bend and snap. Or
Yeah, exactly. It didn't happen.
By the way,
When you said the pool guy, I totally was visioning the guy who cleans the pool with all muscles, and takes people to bed. So I was like really wondering where this was going. So I'm glad you explained what you meant by pool guy.
And I was wondering, what is a hen party? Is that a bunch of animals cackling around?
No, a hen party is in the UK. We regard as before you get married, you go out with your girlfriends and your best friends, and you go and have a wild party.
A bachelorette
known as a
party.
stag or stagette.
Oh, they call it a bachelorette in the US.
Yeah.
They call it a hen party here.
Interesting.
Except the ones I've been to with my British friends, y'all's last from morning to the middle of the night.
I wouldn't know. I've never been.
3 hours.
So
I've never been to a hen party, Dr. Jacalyn. If ever, we must have a hen
look at
party
me.
online.
I'm not getting married.
You don't have to. You can
you have
pretend.
hens. You have hens, no chicks. The chicks are with the guys.
Good one. How about you, Doug Lawrence? Any favorite stories for your birthday?
I would have to say the 50th is probably the one that sort of stands out. And my wife had rented a limousine, and there was a group of us that went to a small community that was about 45 minutes to an hour drive by limo. And we got there, and she had reserved this restaurant that we were going to go and have a private meal at. And what was interesting, as I reflect back on it, what was interesting is that the owner of the restaurant was a lady that we knew when we were stationed up in the Arctic, up in I think she was in Cambridge Bay in the Northwest Territories. And so it was like old home week, and she had a karaoke machine. And I got to finally come to terms with me and karaoke. We don't get along at all. So it was a great evening. And it's the one that sort of stayed with me all these years.
Wow, that's fabulous. And that's another connection with the Arctic, like Diane.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah. So just a quick question. Do you all know each other? Has everyone met one another before?
No.
No. Okay.
Not Joseph, but everyone else, yes.
Yeah, same with me, Red. I haven't met Joseph before.
Okay. Diane, you've met Doug before?
Yes.
Okay. Joseph is going to be right back, so we'll get to him in a moment. All right, Diane's taking a break and she'll be back later. We'll see you soon. Thank you for the song, Diane.
You're welcome. Bye, everybody.
Bye, Dan.
So I think I'm going to move Joseph down for a moment. I think it would be interesting if people would share a little bit about the shows that you do here, the work that you do here, so that our audience can know where to find you if they want to see you again. So let's start with Justin.
Well, I do entrepreneur and so much more. We do that every Monday. I should say every first Monday of the month at 5 p.m. And then I also do a show with Dr. Jacalyn called Take Steps to Cure IBD. And we do that to try to raise money and awareness for the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. Both Dr. Jacalyn and I are patients of, I had ulcerative colitis, so does Dr. Jacalyn. And as I said before, I had it led to pretty radical surgery for me to cure myself. But those are the two shows that we do together, and it's really been great to be a part of USA Global TV and Radio over these last 2 years.
And Justin, thanks. What do you do for a living? How can you help people?
Well, I do corporate training. So I train people in a lot of Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Visio, Project, Teams, OneNote, and others that I can't even remember off the top of my head. And I also do soft skills, communication skills, time management, project management, and leading productive teams. So if you're looking to try to gain some experience to get a new job, or if you're in a job and you want to kind of move up the ladder, I could give you some skills that will really take you to that next level.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, I have you on Spotlight. Can you please tell everyone what is going on June 25th in Philadelphia?
That's the Take Steps event. We're going to be doing that, and we're going to be broadcasting live from the Take Steps event right inside Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia, where the Philadelphia Eagles play. We're going to be on the field. There are going to be tons of people. Some celebrities will be there. We'll be in the locker room broadcasting. So if you could get there, great. And if you could donate, even better. Or if you could do both, that's the cherry on top. So anybody who would like to be a part of it, please let us know. And that's just a great day. Raises a lot of money, and it really is helpful for those who are in a very underfunded community, the Crohn's Colitis Foundation. So that's what we're doing on the 25th of June.
Thank you so much, Justin. And I actually have the flyer here, and I'm asking people to make a donation in honor of my birthday. I'll put the link up. But we will have, in addition to Justin, myself, my sister, Deborah Wilson, will be broadcasting with us. Mr. Al Cini will be with us, and Mr. Joe Del Campo will be with us. So it's open to every one of you. If you want to get on a plane and cruise, we'd love to have you there.
Justin, real quick question, if I may. Chat
Sure.
GPT, do you do any training on that?
I
Chat
just started
GPT.
I just started to play with that a little bit, Red. It's funny you mentioned that a couple of weeks ago. For those who don't know what that is, very quickly, it's probably going to change the world, just like cell phones have changed the world. It's where you could put in something like, let's say I'm going to teach a project management class. I could upload some information about project management and ask Chat GPT to give me 8 multiple choice questions based on my information. And it will do that. You could go into it and tell it, I did this. I'm a big fan of All in the Family, the TV show. And I said, write me a scene of All in the Family. And it actually wrote an entire scene of All in the Family. So this is really, really going to change the world. And I'm glad Red brought that up. So yeah, I'm looking into it now and seeing where we're going to take this.
I was watching a video last night on how to write a book using Chat GPT. And it was very simple. They just, pick me a title. They just gave a keyword. I said, well, give me 10 more titles. And okay, I like that one. Let's pick that one. Okay, give me 10 chapters. Okay, write. Here's the first one. Give me fill in the blank. Give me the content. Give me more. And it just kept going. And okay, it just literally in an hour you can write a book on almost. They just picked the topic. I think dog grooming, but you could pick just
Right.
about any topic you want, and it's just like amazing. But then it's. I'm not going to say sterile, but it is semi not human, but it's very right there. Just the facts, ma'am. But
Right.
then there's some other softwares out there that will add that human element to that sterile content. And so there's a lot of different ways they're going with this artificial intelligence. And from a book writing perspective, it can at least get all of your outline done, your table of contents, the basic contents, everything's there. Now you come in there and you add your own little stories or your own little things that you want to highlight yourself or something that they didn't include that you think is super important. I think it's a major way of going. I have a book that's coming
Yes.
out and I'm going back into that book is ready to publish. And I'm adding a section in there, how to write the book with Chat GPT, because any of the AIs are going to be very similar.
Does anyone
an
have a
amazing
Cliff
tool.
Note version of what you just said?
There's a
Can I-
lot of artificial intelligence tools that can now help create or write things for you. The good and the bad about the AI is that it can make things easier for you. The bad is that it uses materials that's commonplace or found everywhere. So there's no personality or emotion when the AI writes for you.
Thank you,
And Dr.
Joseph.
Jacalyn, the other thing is it's not a search engine. So people think that it surfs the web. It's actually information that's been fed into it. So it doesn't go out and canvas the web. It actually has its own, quote, brain where it has all this information in there. So it's, you got to be careful. Like anything else, though, it's not 100% correct all the time. You have to reread what you've put in there because sometimes it'll spit something out that's just not right. So very, very good, but it'll never be perfect. So you still have to, in other words, kids listening, don't write your book reports and then just say, oh, it's done and I don't have to even read it. No, if you do that, which I'm not recommending, you still want to reread it because you want to make sure that the facts are correct.
Thank you so much. Let's go over to, where were we? Let's go over to Dr. Chan. Tell us about the work that you're doing here.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. I like to help people to discover their mission in life, as in their creative heart, to awaken and to find their divine mission in this life, to express who they are. And also I work with a group of, how can I say, musicians and songwriters. And we also help to express that who you are in a song. And whether that could be a song about, it could be, we do songs for you.co.uk. And basically it can be a song about a celebration, can be a song about, could be like someone that's gone over, passed over, and you wanted to say something to them. It could be about announcing your success from coming from a life of pain and suffering. And that's what I do. I help to awaken that. But on top of that, I work with Dr. Jacalyn, and we collaborated and worked on the power of listening on some of the courses, and some of them that we have collaborated on is about how we have to start to face our shadows. And before we go onto our divine path, or before we manifest things in our life, we need to look at certain things that block us. And that could be about certain issues, dramas and pains that's still there, and certain things that you've got to just you've got to start to awaken to. If this life isn't making sense anymore, then hit us up, hit me and Dr. Jacalyn up, and come on to the Power of Listening courses, which is on the USA Global TV and Radio, on the education. If you go on more, click more, tab down, you can find the education. and you'll find the courses on there. On top of that, because I'm a singer-songwriter, I have collaborated with Mariska Dupree and Dr. Jacalyn with Lady Ella, children's book series with Red as well, of course. So much exciting, magical things. I'm a creative heart, and my aim is to help to awaken people's hearts to be their creative heart to be awakened, because I believe that is the key in this life, where we all follow what's in our heart rather than what is being kind of determined from our outer reality.
Dr. Chan, thank you. Do you want to share a little bit about what I have on the screen, the Creative Hearts Awakening film and music book collaboration?
Yes. Dr. Jacalyn and myself, we got together, collaborated, and we felt that a lot of creative people in the film and music industry, for this book is mainly about people in the film and music industry, for established and non-established, people that just love, even if they're doing it as a hobby, they love doing what they love to do, their passion and their purpose, and what awakened them, and what gets them up in the morning to do with their creative heart. And this is what we do. We've got together this book where people that are interested in contributing, writing their story. Well, they don't have to write. We just have an interview, and then we work together and we put their story in the book. Because Creative Heart Awakening, it's about creation. This world is about creation. So through creation, we co-create. We co-create by helping the creative hearts that are awakened to have a voice.
Dr. Madeline, it said October 12th, 23 for a publication date. Is the book written?
Yes.
Or?
It's in the process.
Okay. I just want to make sure that it's not something I buy right now, but I can get it on pre-order or whatever.
No. Sorry, Dr. Jacalyn, would you like to?
Yes, October 12th is my father's birthday, so that the book launch is in honor of him on that day. We already have a number of people who have signed up. We offer 3 different packages to be part of the book, and we already have people who have signed up. I just signed up somebody yesterday as well, and so we are actually writing their chapters for them, and they're providing us links and headshots, etc. And then we have 2 more books in the series that will not be focused on the film and music industry, but other industries. So it's a great way to get your story out there with as minimal effort as possible and as minimal cost as possible as well. Thank you, Dr. Chan. Okay, over to, yes, Mr. Lawrence.
So for me, Dr. Jacalyn and I co-host 2 podcasts or 2 shows. The first is Your Story, Your Grief, Your Journey, focused on grief and the various stories, and then how that impacts your journey through life. And the second one is Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And that can also pull the grief story into it as well. But we work together it's on Tuesdays, and we do both shows that day, and it's been a great experience so far. So thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, for giving me the guidance that I need with these two shows.
Thank you, Doug. Would you like to share with our panel and our audience, what was the motivation for you to do these shows? Tell us about your work, and if you would, maybe your personal loss.
So these shows are actually part of my healing journey, and these shows, and I've done some other guest appearances. And what I find is, especially with our 2 shows, that they become extremely therapeutic in helping me navigate through the grief that I'm still experiencing, and my post-traumatic stress to some extent, but not as much as my grief. And where that all comes from is the aspect of, in February of 2021, I lost my wife, Deborah, to a battle with cancer. And I've pretty much dedicated the rest of my life to helping others deal with grief, as well as keeping her presence alive, at least certainly for me and for some of her very close friends as well. And I think that the more that I tell the story, that her reach, as I call it, her reach is continuing to grow, and that's important to me as well.
Thank you so much, Doug. And I always honor you. That's not an easy journey to share your story over and over to help other people. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
All right, let me go over to Joseph. Joseph, you shared about what you are doing currently to help people. Do you want to share a little bit about how you and I and someone else are going to be working together, or is it too soon?
No.
Okay.
You should. We're finalizing everything now. So basically, my mentor and I are launching a business to help new entrepreneurs and existing entrepreneurs spread their message by appearing on podcasts and kind of interviewing so that they can expand and then use the backlinks to kind of do SEO and everything like that. So my mentor and I have formed a partnership with Dr. Jacalyn, where we will give all of the shows under the umbrella basically at least kind of 5 guests per month booked in rotation, so that you don't need individually to try and find people on the show. We will supply them for you with full bios and profiles and kind of help grow that. And there's a few individuals that we've already started speaking to that also want to become kind of podcasters and probably co-hosts with Dr. Jacalyn. And so they will go through her program to make sure that they're ready for the stage in part. So very exciting about that.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. It is very exciting. Who did I not speak with yet? Caroline.
Well, I do a number of things. As you know, Dr. Jacalyn, I've been around since July 2021. That was my first interview with you, and the rest is history. The dear Philip Chan introduced me, referred me to do a show with you, and then you invited me to be part of the team, and I'm so grateful for that, because it's literally revolutionized my life. I'm now sitting in the middle of my living room with a green screen behind me and all the lights and looking like a very professional broadcaster. So that's thanks to you. And the shows that I do 2 the listening mentor shows with Dr. Jacalyn a month. And that's on a Friday. We've just moved to British summertime, so it's 7 p.m. British summertime on a Friday evening, and in the UK. And I also do my own show on a Tuesday, as we've moved to British summertime. It's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday every week, and that is almost my piece de resistance. I didn't think that I would have enough material, and I didn't think I'd be able to keep going. And yet I do keep going, and there's so much to share. And I also have a mission to leave a legacy to help people manage all sorts of different kinds of stress that they might encompass, either in their relationships, their family, that their own individual journeys and their road to recovery in terms of stress, trauma, anxiety, depression, and physical and emotional ache and pain. And that, to me, it's very wide and it's very deep. I've been doing the work that I do for this is my 23rd year now. So I have tons to share. And when I think I'm going to run out, the shows actually go on, and I just organize a very brief PowerPoint presentation, and then I just have the prompts so that I don't forget certain things, and then I carry on in that time in the session. And they're all transmissions. They're not actually PowerPoint presentations, what they look like. They're actually healing transmissions. And I feel very proud of that show, because I put my heart and soul on a Tuesday at tea time, 5 o'clock British summer time, into that show to give the most and the best possible level of healing that I can possibly give. So they're healing shows rather than education, obviously also education. And I'm also part of the panel. Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn, for inviting me to be part of the A Woman's Prerogative panel. And that's on a Monday evening, which is at 8 p.m. British Summer Time on a Monday. And I really love that because it's just so much fun, very interactive, and it's a very fun way of sharing, of all of us sharing and learning and exchanging, and also giving the audience something that's really big in terms of our personal shares. I actually gained so much from that myself in terms of other people's shares. And I've been part of the books. So the very first book that I got involved with Dr. Jacalyn was from Adversity to Awesome. And that was the first book that Dr. Jacalyn invited me to do a chapter. And that was kind of a heart-wrenching chapter because that was also my grief journey. And that journey started when my dad died in 2000. And it moved forward to me becoming an ambassador for peace in 2019. And then following that, being on Global USA TV and radio. And it's just an absolutely beautiful journey, because I'm also almost, not quite, I'm 59 at the end of April. And I feel that it's been a very, very powerful healing journey for me. And that's this channel, this platform helps me dedicate what I've learned over this last 23 years and help to share to others so it leaves a legacy. And I'm also involved in the children's books. The first one, I was the main character, Tara the Owl. And in the last book, the more recent book, book 3, I'm actually Princess Royal, the Swan. And so I've been very involved, and I'm so excited to be part of this family. It is indeed a family of friends. It is a family of peers and a family of love.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm at my child's graduation. I'm just so proud of my children. Thank you so much, Caroline. I actually have the book here. Caroline's chapter is in this Adversity to Awesome, as is Madeline's and Justin's, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
But there wasn't enough time.
And Dr. Jacalyn's also.
And mine too. And then this is our first book in the children's series. And here is Caroline. The owl. Yes, fabulous. So, Caroline, something else I just wanted to let our audience and panel know is that you were actually literally terrified of technology, and now you've mastered it, and you didn't think you had enough content for talking heads, and every week the show's 30 minutes, and I'm like, how long will you be? She's like, how long do I have? I'm like, go 50. You got 50 minutes. So you've really grown so much, and you could do hours and hours and hours and hours of shows just on what you know. So thank you.
Oh, bless you. You made that happen, and I feel that you elicited the awakening of the confidence that I have with the technology, and you supported me, and that cannot go without being said, because of your support and your generous, kind assistance in terms of that sort of you can do it, because I did need that. Yes, I've got content. I didn't realize how much actually, but what I didn't have was the how to, broadcast, how to make it look professional. And I am so indebted to you because I was looking for a way to share. I just didn't know how. And you created that platform for me, and now the rest is history. You know, I'm just there. And yes, you're right. I didn't realize the show was only 30 minutes.
By the way, thank you for sharing all that. We have somebody backstage. We have Mr. Hyatt Ives. So for those of you who have taken the power of listening, which would be everyone, you're going to recognize Hyatt from the role plays that he did with his beautiful wife. Let's welcome him to the show. Hello, Hyatt. Nice to see you. Oh, we can't hear you, my friend. He always has two computers set up, and I think one is... I know people set up. Isn't that funny? It's like I've almost been to their house to know what's going on there. But Hyatt did a number of the role plays, and he did it with his wife, Linda, and they did such a great job, and I'm always be appreciative of that.
Is she there?
Is Linda there? Where's Linda? Can you bring her out?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Just barely.
I will have her come. She won't stay probably, but I'll get her to.
Okay.
I remember the background and everything, and yeah,
Same background. Here he is.
yeah.
All right. Hi, welcome to our show today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Can
It's
you
been a
please
while.
tell people the things that you do to help people, the value you bring? And hi, Linda. Nice to see you. Good to see Linda. Everyone's in awe because they've seen the role plays that you two did for the power of listening, and you're still together. That's the great news. They were
too much trouble not to be.
She came out with the classic line. You complimented us on a role play, and she said that wasn't role playing. That was for real.
Well, thank you so much. We're interested in how the two of you are doing and what you're doing.
We're good. We're good.
We took our 4-year-old grandson to the livestock show last Friday.
Was Zane there? Is that for the rodeo? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
It was he's not quite ready for the rodeo, but we spent 4 hours at the livestock show, and he watched chickens being born. He watched lambs and rabbits, and rode the carnival rides. So he was a very happy camper.
Oh, that's beautiful. You know, we do see a lot of pictures on social media because Zane Carson Carruth and her husband, they're big deals there for the Houston Rodeo, and just looks so much fun. There's a lot of education and also entertainment, isn't there?
Yes, lots and lots of it.
You know what I'm thinking?
Dollars
Yes.
given back to kids that show their animals, and that is a labor of love. Just doing that and putting those together. And the grand champions of everything went for super high bucks. They cap the amount they give the students, but all of the balance goes to, if you will, the general fund. So
Which is all for scholarships. For
Okay.
everyone there.
That's really interesting. Wow. Thanks for being here. Just stay tuned. We have Mr. Ian Pelham Turner, who is backstage. I'm going to bring him out. And then I want to go back to Hyatt and Linda for a question. Welcome, Mr. Ian Pelham Turner. Nice to see you. We can't hear you. That's my favorite expression. We can't hear you. You're on mute.
Still on mute.
You're still on mute, Ian. While Ian's doing that, I'm going to spotlight Hyatt and Linda.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome. I just want to ask Hyatt and Linda a question. So what would you say are some of the key takeaways? You did a lot of those role plays about listening. Did any of it have an impact on your life? There's speechless.
The look on Linda's face. I'll let her answer that first.
Linda, what do you have to say?
He definitely has his comments. We're still working on the listening part.
Okay.
It has made me more aware of how to listen. And
First, you have to get his attention, then he listens.
Well, that's a good step in the right direction, isn't it? She's
Yes, it is.
encouraging you. That's great. That's great. So, Hyatt, could you please share with our
Yes, ma'am.
audience what is the work and the value that you bring? And Linda, you as well. Let people know how you can help them.
Well, my two areas of expertise are the English language and the use and abuse thereof. And of course, I have a book entitled The Use and Abuse of the English Language. That ain't not right. The use and abuse of the English language. So I help people put all of their copy in present tense, second person with call to action. My focus within that is business to business. I do business to business marketing, and I specialize in business to business trade show marketing. Over the last 6 months, I've taken half a dozen different clients to business trade shows, and am happy to announce that yes, they are smaller, yes, there are fewer delegates, and they are also more focused and more valuable.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Linda, how about you? How are you helping bring value to the world?
At this point, what do I do? Well, I retired from working, so I'm basically just enjoying my grandson and helping my daughter with him, and just actually doing things around the house.
Very good. Well, thank you both for being here, and hopefully you can stay around a little while we bring some other people up. Mr. Ian Palm Turner, you're now unmuted. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I am very well. Happy birthday, first of all. Second time around, because
Thank you.
because
We actually met in person not that long ago.
we met a couple of weeks ago, and it was fabulous to see you. It's fabulous to talk to you tonight, and to wish you your official 60th birthday today. But we spent a very good time together a couple of weeks ago in Florida, and you were amazing. And look at you tonight. Looking amazing again.
Thank you, Ian. So for people who are joining for the first time, can you please share you're a big advocate of women, helping women. You have extensive decades of experience in global broadcasting. What would you say are some of the main things that you're passionate about in life?
Women. Might I put a caveat to that is womanhood. I had a very hard time in my life about 20 odd years ago. I went through a divorce, came out the other end, didn't know who I was in life, and was really helped by and circled in love by women. So I love womanhood, the values of womanhood, first of all. And these days, for my sins, I work in television across the world with Helena Shard. Hopefully will come on shortly in a second as well. We're based in London. So I'm a royal broadcaster. And so we're just looking forward to the coronation in May. As you know, we do a show each week with you that tries to sort of highlight the values of Great Britain and America as well. And in reality, I suppose what I try to do these days is to create support for people, especially communities that I'm involved in. And really, if I can promote women anyway on my TV shows, along with Helena, I try to do so. And as I say, I thank goodness I learned how to push a button years ago on a camera, and that seemed to stand me in good stead. I then became a full-time journalist, and 12 years ago, in fact, it's more than that now, I was working out last night. It's 14 years since I moved into television broadcasting.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing that. And it's a pleasure and honor to have you here. Ian, I would love for you to share, you gave one of the testimonials for the art of being a professional interviewer. What are some tips you can give to people out there who are looking to break into podcasting or broadcasting? They really don't know the first thing about it. What can you share just as some basic tips?
I think the first thing to do is just love what you do. Television is a very, very hard business. I think I was just telling you a tale when I was in Florida about 3 days before that. Helen and I were working with NBC in London, and we were talking outside Westminster Abbey where the coronation is going to be It was pouring with rain. We got soaked. I couldn't hear what the interviewer was saying because the bells were ringing from Westminster Abbey as well. So it sounded like Quasimodo was working the bells that day. And I think you have to love it. You know, you have to find methods of discovering the values that you can create for someone. Luck plays so much in all of this as well, to actually, if you find something you enjoy, you know, I mean, sometimes it can really take a lot of effort. For example, during the Queen's funeral, I was an anchor on a Sky channel in London, and so we were 6 hours 40 minutes on set. That's an awful long time on set. And fortunately, there was a 10-minute break where we could have a comfort break at least. I think these days, yeah, first of all, enjoy it. Second of all, really know your subject inside out. So research. If you know what the subject is all about, always expect the unexpected. So many times when I've perhaps worked with NBC, one of the other channels, something has happened during transmission and you have to fill in for a person as well. So that can be quite daunting. And as I say, it's really, you know, it's finding those values that you want to talk about in the first place. So I talk about the royal family because I worked with 5 generations of the royal family. I talk about communities because I think for me, communities need to be talked up all the time. Women values and women's businesses, for example, need to be talked up all the time as well. And so once you understand your passions and you start talking about your passions, hopefully then you can actually create ways of, first of all, as you say, creating podcasts nowadays, or even videos on things like YouTube. And gradually you get used to the camera. It is quite daunting because, you know, I work with a lot of TV studios. And so I'm used to sort of having this big eye looking at me, this big lens looking at me all the time. And you get used to it. But a lot of people, when they first start, can get very nervous. I've had occasions when I brought someone into a TV studio and this person was very confident. He put out all his answers on 3 foolscap sheets of paper on the table. The program started. It was a live program to 1 billion people across the world, and he dried. And he just looked like a rabbit in headlights. And for about 5 minutes, I was answering the questions that the other interviewer was asking. It happens. So you learn from all these things. You constantly learn. I constantly learn still. You know, we all make mistakes at times, whether it's on detail or whether you just can't remember something. But carry on. If you're really enjoying it, carry on. And in the end, it's taken myself 14 years. Helena came really virtually from the start as well. So we've learned our trade, if you like, as broadcasters over that period of time.
Thank you so much, Ian. Ian, we're going to come back to you in just 1 second. We have a very special person who's joined us today. Let me bring our other 2 guests up as well. We'll introduce them in a second. Joseph, who's there with you?
So this is Mia, and she wanted to sing happy birthday, right? So let's go, Mia. Happy birthday. No, to share. Happy birthday. No, Mia, sing.
Happy birthday
to you. Mia, how come you're not singing now?
I love her little nails. Look how cute they are, nail polish.
Yeah, we did our nails.
Can you sing happy birthday? Happy birthday.
Say happy birthday. Say happy birthday to Jacalyn.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Okay, I promise. I apologize, but I have to get going.
Bye.
I promise.
Bye. Thank you. Have fun at the park, and thanks so much for being here, Joseph.
Thank you.
For now.
And I look forward to working with all of you in the near future.
Welcome to the team.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. All right. I want to open up for questions for Ian, but first, let us welcome Mariska and let us welcome Amina. Nice to have the two of you with us. We'll actually come back to you so that you can introduce yourselves and share about the work that you do. Who has questions for Ian? Anything having to do with broadcasting, television, any of the work that he does? While he's here, you got a great opportunity to ask something that might help you in your career. Amina, unmute, please, dear.
Off mute.
There you go. Yeah, go ahead.
So I would love to know, do you find it a world of difference between countries on our technique or things we should do or say? Or is it more commonality? I know my own experience and have clients all over the world. So I would love to hear from you as a professional, what you think we might change or tweak to be more cognizant of the audience.
Good question. Thank you.
I think the reality is each country has its own style. You're quite right. I remember when the Queen had died, and it was 10 days of working with different channels across the world. And really, different channels have their own different ways of doing things. Americans tend to like a lot more detail, so you really have to know your subject. Australia tends to be much more upbeat, and so when I was talking about the Queen's death in Australia, we talked more about the happy times that the Queen created. Really, different countries in different ways. East European are very much more just on detail itself again. So you basically, after a while, you learn from different countries, what they're expecting, first of all. America and Australia loves to call me at 2 o'clock in the morning, so I can be on their breakfast shows. Sometimes even I get it wrong because the first night after the Queen had died, I started at 8 o'clock at night, our time, and I went through 27 hours of broadcasts with different countries across the world as they were coming in for me for different programming. And at one stage, I thought I was talking to India, and I was actually talking to South Africa. That's how bad it was getting close to the end. I think it is. Each country has its own sort of variations. I love America. As I say, we do stuff for NBC, and that tends to be more factual. I really like Australia because Australia, we can always have fun with Australia. And even a sad time like the death of the Queen, it was much nicer with Australia to actually talk about the funny things I knew about the Queen, talk about the happier times of the Queen. And because the breakfast show that I was working on in Australia, Channel 9, which is one of my favorite channels as well to work with, we were able to do a much more upbeat situation. And sometimes if you've got a lead-in time, for example, where you can actually watch the flow of the program to start off with, and it seems to be more upbeat, then try and follow that trend. But you're quite right, each country has its own situation. China, for example, that we've worked with. China has a different way of reporting news. So you have to do 12 minutes with them. And so if your questions are only, say, 7 or 8 minutes, they repeat the questions again so they can add the 4 minutes to it. It's quite a strange way of working in China. Africa that we've worked with again as well, they tend to sort of really look at the history more of things. So as I say, each continent I think has its own realities.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, because what I heard was you are accommodating people where they're at. And I can't tell you how much this entire panel has, all these years we've all talked, that's such a vital thing, to let our guests know we hear them and we can meet them on wherever they are. So that's amazing, Ian. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Amina. Fabulous. Who else has a question for Ian?
Ian, I wonder how you get through. I know that I have what I call conversational crutches, where there's a certain phrase that I lean on over and over and over again, and I try to eliminate that from my broadcasting. Have you ever experienced that yourself? And if so, how did you overcome that?
I think at times, sometimes you use the same things. I do a political show, for example, and on a political show, sometimes I would say that stop using sound bites, use sound judgment. Yeah, because in reality, part of my background is that I work behind the scenes with one of our prime ministers. I wouldn't say I taught politicians how to lie. That's probably going too far. But I gave them certain get out of jail phrases as well. And I suppose at times you can use the same phrase time after time. It's always it's like I give speeches these days as well. For some reason, people want to hear me speak, at conferences. And I think I've developed a technique now. I was explaining the other day where I will walk up onto a platform, and honestly, I have no idea what I'm going to say to them at all. I have, nothing is prepared. And what I normally do is just scan across the room first of all, just to see, what it's like. And I normally start off with a funny, if I can, just to see if there's any humor in the audience at all. But recently, one came to mind where I'm a peace ambassador as well for a peace organization attached to the United Nations. And anyway, I go up on stage and I'm there at the lectern and I'm looking at the audience, and it looked like I was talking to the Taliban. There was about 8 of them, and they looked at the most sternest faces I think I've ever seen in an audience in a long time. And so I thought, well, I can't do a funny with them at all. But gradually, I suppose then what I tend to do is talk with emotion as well. And just bring it back to Jacalyn for a minute, because during my time in Florida, I had to give 2 speeches, as Jacalyn knows. And I actually got quite emotional because Jacalyn came in the room and we've never met, before this period. Obviously, we've talked to each other and we're great friends. We've talked to each other for 2 years. She came in the room and then I had to give my speech after. I was getting quite emotional, telling about 400 or 500 people how wonderful it was at long last to actually meet Jacalyn as well. So sometimes if you start using the same phrases, I suppose because I'm really sort of news orientated, I suppose, more than anything, then I'm not repeating things that I probably repeated before. Occasionally, as I say, stop sound bites, start sound judgment is probably sort of one of my key phrases when I talk about politicians.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And we also have your partner here, Helena Shar, joining us from London. Nice to have you with us, Helena. Hello.
Hey, lovely to see everyone. This is fun, isn't it? And happy birthday, Jacalyn. Look at you.
Thank
Looking beautiful
you.
and sparkly. Very lovely.
Thank you so much. Ian was actually just giving us some tips for success. So we're going to come over to you, Helena, in just a moment. Hi, you have a question?
Well, I wanted to reinforce what Ian was saying in that I did worldwide shows for a oil equipment company. So I have done shows in Scotland, Norway, Russia, China, Middle East, Latin America, so on. And case in point, company rule, there will be no liquor on any of our company's booths, any place in the world, period, except Moscow. Because they knew that without liquor on a booth, in Moscow, you wouldn't get the decision makers within the Kremlin, within the Russian hierarchy. So I had to be cognizant of and accommodating to the norms, the ways of doing business, which, as we all know, are different in different parts of the world. So when you do that, when you are cognizant of that and reflect that in your approach to them, it makes the transition a whole lot smoother, a whole lot easier, a whole lot more friendly.
Thank you so much, Hyatt. Caroline, yes.
I'm going to ask a funny question because I really want to know. And I used to work in PR a long time ago, and I didn't ever used to eat. So my question is, when do you eat and drink? And when can you sit down and have a meal? When, like, sort of, for instance, you mentioned about when the Queen passed away, from 8 o'clock until, for 27 hours, you were on the go non-stop. So please tell me, Ian, when did you eat? When did you sleep? When did you drink? And when did you find time to go to the toilet?
Well, there's a question.
Which order should he answer that in? Let's go with the toilet.
Which order should I answer that?
Toilet first.
I think, I mean, first of all, one of the rules that I have is I will never eat anything like biscuits or toast before an interview, because little crumbs, little fragments can get caught at the back of your throat, and you can start coughing during an interview. The reality with doing the funeral, although hopefully it couldn't be seen, as I say, we were on set for 6 hours 40 minutes, and the staff were crawling under the table feeding us chocolate biscuits and orange juice all the way through that period, which was about the only thing that kept us going. I think, but basically, when these things happen, adrenaline takes over more than anything, and during that period, Helena will tell you the same. I mean, we were both doing enormous amounts of work. For me, I was starting to feel like Count Dracula in the end, because I was walking through a park at 2 o'clock in the morning to do a live feed to Australia, for example, and after about 10 days of just wearing total black, black tie, black coat, black jacket, the full, look for the funeral itself. I had bloodshot eyes by then as well, because there were so many late nights. So you tend, I think what you try to do is, one of the tricks at Buckingham Palace, that's for certain, is that if you know you're going to do a lot of interviews during the day at Buckingham Palace, you don't drink beforehand, because there are no toilets within any vicinity of Buckingham Palace. So if that answers your toilet question as well, the reality is that I think it was when Prince Philip died. There were quite a few commentators and cameras wanted to talk to me, and I was outside for 4 hours, and it was a cold day anyway, which any gentleman around my age will understand. It causes a bit of a problem anyway, fortunately, I hadn't sort of taken any drink beforehand. The only thing that you can do in circumstances like that is you can take sips of water, but if you take too much water on, it can cause you problems.
Thank you. That was very candid, because I did wonder.
Inquiring minds want to know. So now thank you.
Seeing an expert, we do have to do all those things, and it's important to, I was just really interested. How do you do it? Where are the toilets in Buckingham Palace? So I too just take sips of water for the same reason.
Thank you both. I want to go over to Helena, and thank you for being here. Helena, as you know, you and Ian did testimonials for the art of being a professional interviewer, and you shared some really wonderful tips. We have a couple people here who took the course. What would you say are some of the keys to working together with someone? You and Ian have been together for a long time, and you might not always have the same perspective on things, or maybe you do. How do you make that work?
Well, but it's true. You know somebody. Obviously, I know Ian. I've worked with him for years, and I know his foibles. He knows mine. I think sometimes I'll refer to Ian because obviously we work together quite a bit. You know, there's certain things that he loves to talk about. He likes to talk about certain things, and to obviously give the platform to him. Things that maybe I'm stronger at talking about, then obviously I'll speak about those things. And it's just, I suppose, just being respectful and listening, and being professional is the number one key. Knowing your client, knowing what points you want to get across. I mean, it's all about communication. And Jacalyn, your courses say it very much, as well, that you've got to be listening so much to everything around you. And yeah, I think, does that answer?
It does, actually. Thank you. And Helena became one of our elevated listeners very recently. You may recognize Mr. Hyatt Ives. He did a number of the role plays with his lovely wife, and they're still together. Great news.
So Helen did a couple of things together, a couple of sessions together.
Yeah, you were on, what was our show? Celebrating Great Britain Royally Rich.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
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 I think so, was it? Yeah, I think so. Gosh, we've done loads of shows, haven't we? It's
we sure
amazing.
Have.
It's really fabulous.
So a question. Go ahead, Ian.
I was just going to add one thing. I mean, Helena knows this as well. Is that a while back we were working on a show together, and it was a very hot day. And I won't say who was the person who we were interviewing, but it was on Skype. We were doing a Skype interview as well. And I started nodding off to sleep on a lunch. and fortunately, Helena realised what was happening and digged me in the ribs. So sometimes
I would just like to say,
sometimes, I mean, the thing I would say about Helena, she's fabulous. I mean, we may argue at times about policy or how we sort of see things, but I think we are that perfect foil for each other, and I think I couldn't think of a better person to sit alongside most of the time to do TV shows, apart from yourself, Jacalyn, of course.
It goes without saying. I would just like to add, when Ian says that he sort of started to doze off, he was actually snoring. I've got to let everyone know your little secret.
And he had one of the premium mics on, right?
Yes.
The squirrels that go by the carpet.
Yeah, funny.
So I want to see the bloopers.
Before we go on to Mariska and Amin and Red, I think we missed you. And this is not for me. I would love for Ian and Helena to share with our panel and for people who are watching, because I already know the answer to this question. But Ian and Helena, when you have the opportunity to be on major global networks, and you are on them and you have been on them, what brings you to USA Global TV and Radio?
Wow, gosh, I would think it's quite obvious if I understand the question. I think you're fabulous, Jacalyn. I think what you have built up in such a short space of time really is phenomenal. And I love what you stand for. I love the way, and everyone as well involved, leads from the heart. Everyone wants to help people, offer advice, offer hope, inspiration. I mean, there's so many things I could go on. I mean, it's a fabulous platform, and I think everybody can learn from your platform as well. There's nothing bad to say. I mean, obviously, I work with lots of different platforms, as does Ian, but this is obviously one of my favourite platforms. So thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I just wanted our team and people to know, hey, they're on NBC. Why are they on USA Global TV and radio?
I think, I mean, as you know, I think both of us virtually worked with you from conception of the project in the first place. So we admire people who are triers, you know, and then as I got to know you more and understood the hurdles you had to jump over to move something forward, that's totally you know, one of the best things to actually work with in television. Yeah, we you know, I mean, but I think the reality nowadays is that what you've built up is an incredible amount of TV shows, the amount of energy that you have, stood up, don't even sit down, you know, it is amazing. And so, you know, when I think Helen and I meet people like yourself, it gives us value. It makes us feel as if we're contributing to something of great importance. You know, and USA Global TV nowadays is becoming a phenomenon. You know, it's seen across America. It's starting to be seen across the world. It's sort of something where it's almost like a coffee table show for us, because some of the broadcasts that both of us have to do are quite intense at the same time. So I won't say we get as relaxed as me falling off to sleep. I don't think I've done that on one of your shows. But the reality is what you give is humanity. You give everybody a voice. You listen to people, which is really important as well. And everybody loves you. What's not to like?
Thank you. I'm cracking up, but I appreciate it. I just want our team to know that this is the place to be, and that I really do appreciate everyone, the time that people spend, the energy that people put into it, that we are in the right place. I've discussed it with Ian and Helen and make sure that I'm doing the right things, going in the right direction, because there's always people trying to pull you and push you and go here, go there. And so they are a huge part of the decisions that I make and the value that we bring. So thank you to both of you.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for Ian and Helena? It's rather late there. I know it's late for Madeline and Caroline. Anything that you want to share before we move on to Mariska, Amina, and Red?
I just want to, sorry, Dr. Jacalyn, I just want to address Ian and Helena in the way that you are just like, you know, when you say you've got your partners in crime, and it's not crime, but it's almost like you have this silent language. You know, you've been together for so long, you cover each other, and I think that's so special. I thought you were brother and sister, to be honest, because you emanate that energy. And I just wondered how you, if one of you are having a bad day, how you help to bring one another up to, let's say, at least to neutral. And I address Ian.
I think, but basically, we've got to know each other so well, Helen and I. And you know, at times, it's really it's intuition. You know, I think more than anything that works for us these days, where you know, at times I can forget something and Helena will come straight in, you know, with the answer, you know, because she realized, you know, that you know, I've lost my train of thought for a second on a particular thing. And we are very comfortable together. We're very cozy together. And I although we take life seriously in broadcasting, we don't take ourselves, hopefully, that seriously either. You know, and you know, when things happen, as things can happen on set at times. You know, we just accept it, and I suppose we are great friends as well. And so you get used to covering each other's backs. If something, you know, I can forget to fact, and Helena will, you know, she's got a laser-like memory for a lot of facts, especially about the royal family and so forth. So then it works. And as I say, I think we're just intuitive enough to know that, you know, if something sort of happens, and things can happen, you know, as well, that then we are so used to just covering up either way. And I mean, I remember recently when we were both working on another channel for the Queen's celebrations, and someone was talking over the top of Helena a lot of time, and just you know, and not giving her the due respect that she should have had. And so, you know, when I came on with that same person, I just talked over him, and it taught him a lesson. You know, don't talk over people. And then after that, I think he seemed to sort of become a lot better with Helen as well. You know, so we protect each other's values.
I love that. Thank you, Ian. I think it's just super powerful. You're the powerful twins. Like, I mean, you don't look like twins. You're beautiful looking, both of you. But
let's hear from Helena.
Oh my gosh, I think Ian summed it up really. But I would say, you know, we're mindful of each other, you know, and how we're feeling. And I think, you know, aside of any broadcast, if I need to speak to him about something, or something's going on with me, or vice versa, we'll talk. You know, just a simple few words can make a big difference to how you do a broadcast, etc. But it's having each other's backs, and also it's true, you know, not to take yourself too seriously. Sometimes things maybe don't go as well as you want them to, because we're human. Let's face it, you know, we're not robots, and they may not go as well as we want them to. And it's just one of those things, and it's just you know. You chat, you laugh, you move on, and then you just carry on as best you can professionally in other broadcasts. But yeah, it works well.
Great answer. Thank you, Helena. And let's welcome back Diane Floyd Bame in the house. Welcome.
Hey, Jacalyn.
Hi, nice to have you back.
Hi, Helena. So lovely to see everybody.
Diane, I'm going to have to ask you to sing again because everyone didn't hear you the first time. Are you up for it?
I just walked for an hour, so let me get my breath.
Okay.
You'd be so proud of me. I walked because it was pretty.
Woo! Phenomenal. I want to welcome Mariska and Amina officially. Thank you for being here. Can you share with our panel and with people watching and listening the value that you bring? How do you help people? We'll start with Mariska.
Ooh, you first. Okay. So other than being part of writing the books that me and Dr. Jacalyn are busy with for Lady Ella and the Listening Mentor, I also help people that is in specialization, so mostly engineers, move into leadership, and leaders moving up within their career. So that's the space in which I normally work. And then, well, of course, any other fun contributions and collaborations where I can be part of those types of things. I enjoy doing those, as well as Dr. Chan will attest to our little song that we wrote, or a couple of songs that we're still going to write. So yeah, that is what I do mostly, and a lot of that on this platform.
Thank you so much. Mariska has been my coach. She actually is the person I worked with. We went through the life coaching certification process. What was in 2019 or 18 or something? Mm-hmm. And then she became my coach, and she helped me leave my corporate career so I could go ahead and do this. So she's been a big part of my life for a while. So thank you, Mariska. And let's go over to, I present the pet psychic, Amina, who is all about coexistence. She is all about every animal, every creature has a right to be here. And when we coexist and we are sustainable human beings, we can have a much better time on this planet. Amina, welcome.
Thank you so much, and thank you for including me on this amazing experience of Love Livecast, and the work we're doing and the people we're reaching is national. I'm fortunate to have clients all over the world because I don't need to have people in my presence. And these are some of the biggest questions I get is, how does it work? And what do pets say? And all of that. I've always been really close to nature since I was a little kid. And I think it's because I'm a fifth child of a very large family. And so nobody cared in the 60s, 70s, 80s what you did and where you wandered. And so nature was my buddy and my friend. And of course I had friends, human ones also. But I really enjoyed, there's no judgment in the natural world. If some people are like, well, I'm terrified of snakes. And that's okay. As a person who's actually been bitten by one while I was doing a demonstration with a bunch of elementary kids, they got a little excited. The snake got a little panicked and I got chewed on. So you learn those graces of holding still while the snake is going like this. And you go, oh yeah, it's okay. He was non-venomous, so it was just fine. But you learn that I needed to have a better energy holding him, being around children, having the children there. We learn from our mistakes, and hopefully we learn to never do it again. That's a really big one. I've never been bitten since, and I'm not lucky enough to always have these types of animals around to hold or work with. But what I have found of being a child in a teaching family, both my parents were teachers, and my dad's 4 of his 5 brothers were teachers. So we come with that. And public speaking, the first time I ever talked about animals in public, I was 11. And I did a public speak for a state program. And it was something where you go, oh, this is where I need to be. And luckily, Dr. Jacalyn and I found each other. She found me. It's all on her. And let me have a platform to say, please, you might not like mosquitoes. I don't like mosquitoes, but they're here. So let's learn to coexist. And I give you natural ways to deter them instead of chemicals that might kill you or kill them and that type of stuff. And try to have the conversation of meeting people where they are and where their pets are at. A client I talked to just yesterday or the day before is spending billions, literally thousands and thousands of dollars to save her dog's life. And yet the vet's turning her away saying it's all in her head. That's not where anybody needs to be. So I hope that I'm giving positive reinforcement that there is a way that we can support you. We might not have the answer, but we can at least support as we all help you go through that path. And Dr. Jacalyn, thank you so much for giving me that opportunity.
Thank you, Amina. I appreciate you. We do our show together every Friday, so please join us for that. We have somebody new who just popped in. Let's see who it is. It says Dr. Madeline Chan, but doesn't look like her. Welcome. Who do we have here?
Madeline, you've changed.
Madeline, you've changed. Madeline,
what happened to your hair, Madeline? I remember you having hair last time.
Madeline, can you unmute, please? Madeline Claudio, can you unmute, please? Anybody help them? Okay, 5 minutes. All right, we're going to go over to Diane. Is she here? Yes, Diane.
Yes. What would you like?
You're going to sing something for us.
So you want me to do?
Yes.
Happy birthday again?
Yes, just the way you did it.
Which one? No one knows what except if they were there earlier what that meant. Let's see. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. Happy birthday to you.
Encore.
Brilliant. What a lovely voice.
Gorgeous
Lovely voice, Diane.
Absolutely. Thank you, Diane. Thank
You're
you, Diane
welcome.
/ Marilyn Monroe.
You have to do the sexy one for that.
So, Dr. Madeline Chan, you've changed since we saw you last. Tell
Yes,
us what's
I've
going on.
lost my hair.
Welcome, Claudio. Nice to see you.
Thank you. Nice to see you too. Happy birthday, first of all.
Thank you. Claudia, for people who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself. And also, you have relocated since we saw you last. Where are you now?
I'm in Chelmsford, Essex now. I located from Coventry in West Midlands.
And you're sharing a space with two favorite people. Do you want to say who they are?
Yes, Dr. Madeline Chan herself and Rocco Bombino, who I've known since I was a child, basically.
Fantastic. And tell us about your beautiful voice and where you found your inspiration to sing.
My inspiration came from a baby, really, listening to Pavarotti and all the great tenors of the past. And my father was a singer, had a beautiful baritone voice, and yeah, he was my one of my first idols.
And are you going to sing for us today?
Yes, I'd like to do a not happy birthday, but a nice Italian ballad, if I may.
Please do. We'd love it.
Okay. Tenim così anime cora non c'è la samchio manca penora sto desideriete me fa paura camba con te sempre con te per non morire che c'è dici ma fa parole amara si io bene vo campa con un respiro si smania pure tu per chi sto amore tenimaci così anime cora.
Woo!
Wow. This is recorded, right?
Very good.
That was especially for you, Dr. Jacalyn.
That was magnificent.
Thank you. I felt like I was being serenaded in a beautiful romantic Italian restaurant. That was fabulous. It was really nice. Does anyone have any questions for our singers? Anything about singing that you'd like to know from Diane or Dr. Madeline Chan / Claudio? I'll ask if no one has a question. My question is, how do you overcome the fear of nerves when I ask you, can you sing right there? There's no rehearsal. It's just put it out there. Diane?
Well, I just quickly say, okay, angels, get ready to sing. And then we take a deep breath. And whatever angels want to join me, that's how I sound.
I think the gentleman speaking earlier said sometimes you are staring at a big lens, and you know it's now or never. You put, if you love to do what you're doing, you find the nerves disappear while you're singing. So it's good to be nervous. It means you're doing it from the heart and soul with passion.
I agree completely. Yeah, completely.
It's quite beautiful.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
there's
really
a
beautiful.
duet in the future between Diane and Claudio.
Yeah, that'd be
Yeah.
lovely.
Those
Definitely.
ones are so beautiful. You have such beautiful control of your voice. Like I
You
could
have a
hear
very
your
beautiful
diaphragm
voice yourself.
working.
Oh, thank you. You sang beautifully yourself. So yeah.
Well, that's a very
Mhm.
kind compliment coming from a professional.
No, you're welcome.
Mr. Hyatt Ives has a question.
Well, along the lines of be passionate about it. When you are passionate about it, you do it more often and you get more comfortable with it so that when they ask you to do it again, it comes that much easier.
Yeah.
It comes more often and it comes easier to answer the call and do it with the same passion.
That's absolutely true.
Brilliant. Thank you, Hyatt. And by the way, Hyatt and Red, I'm not sure if anyone else is here, are distinguished Toastmasters. Either one of you want to tell us what a Toastmaster is and what that means?
Red, you haven't talked for a while. Have at it.
It's true. It's been a while. Anyway, Distinguished Toastmaster, it's the culmination of many, many, many speeches. I got mine back about 2011, and I think I did 52 speeches as part of that program. And you're covering a very wide variety of different kinds of speeches to inform, just to do a number of things. But I think the biggest thing that I learned from the Toastmaster perspective was I could take a 5-minute topic and cram it into 20 minutes without any problem at all. But to take a 20-minute issue, condense it down, organize it, and spit it out professionally in 5 minutes, being able to highlight the things that need to be done so people can remember what is important. That is what Toastmasters teaches you. It gives a platform where the ability to speak extemporaneously, ad hoc, whatever you want to call it, is much easier because you do it more and more and more often. And part of some of the problems we have is we think we hear what we're saying, but we don't. And as a result, sometimes those little, like we say them and they're space fillers in our brain because we want to say something else and an or an ah comes out and we don't even realize we're saying it. And a beginner, when you're sitting there counting, doing their 2-minute, 3-minute presentation, well, you had 5 ahs, 2 ums, 2 no's, 3 likes. And they're thinking, in 2 minutes, I said all that. And in reality, we have a lot of stuff that's going on. Our brain is just not processing it the same way. But as you think about how to speak and what's important and the order in which to cover it, those things are filtered out so we don't have to rely on them as a crutch in that interim. If I were to take just a brief, it was about a 5-second break. And if you just take that 2 or 3 seconds, people don't even know that you're stopping for anything. And so from that perspective, it's a very good program because when you get feedback, it's not feedback about you as a person. It's feedback about the content, the tool you're using in your speech tool belt at that particular moment. And what can you do to improve upon it? And in some cases, you can't find anything to improve upon. Some people who are very, very good. But you can come back and say, hey, I loved what you said. I find no fault. But, if I were doing that, I think I would have gone this direction. And it's not a bad thing. It's just another way of looking at that kind of presentation.
Thank you, Rad. Well
Something
spoken.
that I've learned. Yeah. In Toastmaster speeches, we have to give no longer than a 5 to 7 minute presentation. And we learn that you can't cover more than 3 topics in that 5 to 7 minutes. Well, over the last 50 years that I've been doing this, it has come to pass that 3-item rule goes for just about everything. The human brain is less able to focus on more than 3 items. So as I do my business to business marketing and my business to business trade shows, my clients are allowed to feature 3 items, and it always works. So Toastmasters has and ancillarily worked in how I perform my other functions and operations.
Thank you, Hi, and thank you, Red. Any questions that anyone has from the expert distinguished Toastmasters about public speaking? No. Okay, well, thank you very much. We're going to go over to Red for him to share the value that he brings. Then what we're going to do is we're going to watch 3 videos, and then we're going to wrap up the birthday party and go directly into the book launch, which will be about 20 minutes. So, Red, please tell us, how can you help people?
Well, I'm very fortunate on USA Global TV and Radio Network to be on 4 different shows. On Roland Frieden's Wild at Something.
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart. It's, I guess, the woman's prerogative from the man's perspective. It's a manly show, men questions, men answers. And part of my problem is the fact that I retired about 15 years ago. And so I have 6 Saturdays and a Sunday every week. And I got to figure out which Saturday his show is on. It's on Wednesday afternoons for most people. But then I have a major dilemma because Dr. Jacalyn wants me to start at 4:30 the next morning on food and emotions. And so it seems like 4:30 in the morning.
Ian can do it. Come on.
And so we have food and emotions early on Thursday morning. And then Dr. Jacalyn and I share the wise ones. And then immediately after that, I have a Talking Heads program. One of the things that I really and truly enjoy doing is researching the human body at the cellular level, chemically speaking. I look for cause and effect relationships. Treat a cause, fix a problem. Treat a symptom, and you'll always be treating symptoms. I fell in love with chemistry sophomore year in high school. I got a degree in it and immediately got an invitation to Vietnam. Never got a chance to practice it until about 10 years ago. My wife came down with breast cancer, and I left the field that I was in at that time, self-improvement, motivation speaking, selling my books and stuff at the back of the room, to researching the human body, and attacked several of the symptoms side effects that she had from chemo drugs. And speaking of chemo drugs, you may notice a little bit of flaring up in here. I'm on a topical chemo right now called fluorouracil. I think the last time I did it on my face, I've done it on my head, my neck, my arms. It was about 25 years ago. I was in Bosnia, and here I am with a helmet on, my pistol under my shoulder. I'm walking out there, and I have an umbrella, and I'm walking through Bosnia. 200, 300 other military out there, and ironically, nobody said a thing to me. Not even the generals. Nobody. I think I had one person. My chief of staff at that time was a 3-star, and I was over in his office one time, and he asked me about it. But I guess I was senior enough. Nobody had the guts or whatever to come up and say, "Well, why are you carrying an umbrella?" And if had they, I'd say, "Well, the Navy authorizes an umbrella to be used on occasion, but not in the bright sunshine, because what I have is very sensitive to sunshine." But anyway, on my Talking Head show, I talk about health and wellness. My specialty is longevity. I look for things dealing with age, anything age related. I just published a book about 2.5 weeks ago on understanding the causes of Alzheimer's, and go into what happens as these things progress through the body. And so that's really where my passion's at. So what can I do to help people? Well, I speak routinely. I've written quite a bit. I think I have nearly 1,000 original content articles on LinkedIn, almost every single one of them doing some aspect of health and wellness. My other thing that I helped Dr. Jacalyn with, and many other people, and just Hyatt Ives, I've helped him with a couple of his books, and I'm working with a couple other people on the USA Global TV Radio Network, is to get their book published. And so that's one of the things I do. I do help some clients individually as a book coach, but not many, but I am selective. But if you have questions on book writing, on any kinds of aspect of book writing, publishing, more than happy to get those answered. And that's kind of a quick and dirty on what am I, and what can I do to help you.
Thank you so much, Red. And for those of you who don't know, Red has been working with me on all of my books. All of them are either #1 Amazon bestseller or #1 Amazon new release. And that's because of Red. So here's to you, Red. Thank you. Okay, we're going to watch 3 short videos. When I say short, just a minute or less. And then we're going to move into our book launch. So everybody's welcome to stay. If you have somewhere to go, something to do, you're going? Okay.
Sorry, I've got because I'm doing a political show tomorrow morning. I've got to listen to the political news now. coming up. So Jacalyn, have a great birthday. You're a wonderful person. I can see so many beautiful people around you today as well. Have a great birthday, and we'll see you again very shortly. Take
All right.
care.
Thanks for being here. Sleep well. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay, so let's take a look. We first have Mr. Roland Friedel. Let's see what he has to say.
Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, today is your special day and yeah, your anniversary. So happy birthday. All the best. Many amazing years, many amazing touching moments, meeting good people, a lot of success. So I wish you all the best, my dear friend, for your birthday. And you know, stay healthy, become wealthy, and the best is yet to come. Bye from somewhere in France.
Thank you, Roland. You know, I was thinking maybe I should have watched these before I just put them out there because I don't know what people are saying. But thank you, Roland. That was a pretty cool building behind him. What was that, a castle or something?
I was wondering if he was moving in there.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. All right, let's take a look at this one. Let me make sure I'm from the beginning. This is Daisy Gideon.
It's my great pleasure and honor to be sending you this birthday wish on your 60th birthday. Thank you for inviting me to contribute. And whilst we haven't known each other for very long, I've been delighted and I've been excited and, you know, impressed to get to know you, to know what you do, to know how much you contribute and what you do for the world and for humanity. So happy birthday. And I would love to contribute a small story, a short story about some birthday event that was so special to me to help bring in the spirit of birthdays to this celebration. So I'd like to share with you all a story about my 50th birthday, which was only a few years ago. You know, when you get to those sort of milestone birthdays, they're the times when you take stock in life and you really start looking back at what you've done, what you've achieved, and whether there's so much more that you should be doing, want to do, and should get on with it. And so I was getting close, a few months out from my 50th birthday, and I hadn't really celebrated in a large way for a while because I was so busy with my life and, you know, with my kids, and just day-to-day life just got away from me. And so I decided, on reflection, looking at my life and looking at what I'd achieved so far, that I had actually done so much and I had met so many people, and I wanted to be able to bring them together to, you know, reminisce, enjoy, recognize the life and the contribution that they'd made to my life. And so I decided that I was going to have a 3-day celebration at a resort, you know, boutique hotel 2 hours south of Sydney, where, you know, I lived for most of my life. I'm now living in Beirut. I'm working in Beirut. And so I sent out this Great Gatsby style invitations, gave it a theme, made it fun, made people want to glamorize and come to the event very, you know, very, you know, in a way that they could actually enjoy it far more, because people do like to dress up. And so we planned this event, and Friday night people, you know, started arriving after work, and Saturday I had planned this this day where, you know, more people were arriving, so I didn't make it until the afternoon. We started with cocktails and drinks around the pool. I had a friend who's a singer who came up with her guitar and sang for us around the pool. And it was just a lovely sort of casual but stylish sort of cocktail drinks. And then everyone went away to get dressed at dinner, and dinner was much more of a formal event. And I had this friend who's an MC, and he was a TV presenter who came along and, you know, dressed beautifully in his tux and hosted the evening, kept everyone entertained, and then introduced me to come in Hollywood style in my long white dress with my backless dress and a trail, not too far. It wasn't quite a wedding dress, very nice and sexy. I had lost 10 kilos for that birthday because I had decided also that that was a birthday gift I was giving myself. I was going to get myself fit and healthy. And so I shed some weight and got really healthy with a trainer. And so we had the event, we had a beautiful night, beautiful dinner, brought people from all parts of my life together, from primary school, high school, my first job as a journalist at News Limited, my jobs in London where people I'd met there were now living in Australia, my work around the world where I knew people who were based in Australia, family, friends, school friends of my kids, who'd become family to me and really close friends, colleagues, mentors, people who'd helped me grow my business, learn how to be a better person, all the people that had made a difference in my life and those that I just cherished as friends and family. And we came together and we had a wonderful night with celebrations. We played a trivia game about me, asking people questions, and then we danced the night away to beautiful music from all the ages that meant something to me, the 70s, the 80s and 90s into the 2000s. Danced until, I think it was like 4 o'clock in the morning when we finished. And then the Sunday we had lunch together, those who stayed, and I farewelled them. It was one of the most memorable moments in my life, and I'm so proud and so happy that I did that for myself. And I've learned over my life never to wait, always to just do whatever you want to do and not expect. Of course, there are moments, that you do want people to do but something like this was more important to me. And I was so proud and so happy to be able to do that for my friends. So on your 60th birthday, I'm so proud of you that you've brought together all of your friends and people that have meant so much to you in your life to organize this great celebration in your way. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm so proud to know you, so pleased to have seen the great work that you're doing, as I said, for humanity, and to live your life to the fullest. We must never live with regret. We must always continue to know that our voice and our lives really can make a difference. And you are doing that, Jack. I wish you the very best. Happy birthday, my love. Thank you. Bye.
Wow. What a great birthday she had when she turned 50, huh? I was waiting like there was going to be something that happened, but then I realized it was just that it was a fabulous birthday celebration. So thank you, Daisy. And we have one more from Janetta Barry, who is not able to make it today, but she's also sent in a video and she's in Africa. Let's see what she has to say.
When we speak, we don't hear. It's abundantly clear. Listening lazy creeping, and nobody's gonna win.
I woke up to a beautiful day, and soon I'd be on my way. A trip I'd planned for two now include me and thoughts of you.
Happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. Wishing you the best year ever. Lots of love, Janetta.
Yay. Thank you, Janetta. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much to each and every one of you. You're my friends. I really appreciate you and love you. And I just am so grateful that you took this time to be here. As we go around, some of us are going to be staying. Red's going to stay, Caroline, Mariska, and Madeline for our book launch discussion. So I'd like to just go around. Amina, how can people reach out to you and who would you like to contact you?
I'd like to say anybody and everybody, but not everybody needs or wants pets. But if you're also having a conflict, you got snakes in your yard, and I won't come get them. I would love to, but I won't come get them. Everybody knows I love snakes and tarantulas and that type of thing, but that's for a different professional. I can help you with the process. Yes, this is a picture I just shared with Jacalyn. That is a tarantula on my back. And he stayed on my shoulder and back for 6 hours of educating some kids and adults. So I love what I do. I practice what I preach. And I'd like us to not use RAID and not need to have that, and understand how we keep animals out and in our lives, and how to just be better people on the planet that we so desperately need. So many plants and animals for balance, because we need each other. We need all of you. This is what was wonderful, Dr. Jacalyn. The people that you have assembled, we all do hard work, deep, deep hard work, and want to share a better way and a new idea. We're not judging anybody, just saying, hey, have you thought about coming at this problem or this issue or this challenge in this way? And I'm doing the same thing with animals. I'm just really blessed to actually hear what they're talking about a lot of times, so I can translate. And thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. This milestone is amazing, and I'm wonderful. I'm just thrilled that I'm a part of your life now.
Oh, I'm gonna start crying. Thank you, Amina. That was beautiful. Really, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna have to take a break, get some tissues after I just instructed everyone about crying on the program is not appropriate. Thank you. Let's go over to Hyatt Ives. Hyatt, how can people reach out to you, and who do you want to contact you?
Real easily, Hyatt at hyattives.com, and you can see it spelled there. And also by phone, 832-372-6900, 832-372-6900. And I'm looking to help people get what they want in the business to business world and in their personal world relative to what they write and what they put out about themselves and how they do it in the business to business trade show world. As I said earlier, yes, they are smaller. Yes, there are fewer people. And yes, it's more focused. And yes, it is when done correctly, the least expensive marketing tool you can use. So Hyatt at hyattives.com, and I look forward to helping as many people as I can.
Thank you, Hyatt. You always have a place in my heart for taking that chance and opportunity to do those role plays, because so many people have seen those role plays and have joined our platform as a result of that. So thank you so much. I really do value your friendship and appreciate you. Thank you. Diane Floyd, babe, how can people get in touch with you, and what's your latest project?
So, again, happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. I'm so happy for you. The 60s are fantastic. So I know you are in for some exciting times. I love the 60s, so go for it. So everyone listening or watching, you can reach me at diannefloydbame.com. For those listening, DiannFloydBoehm.com. And I write children's books and a young adult historical fiction. And my books have various themes. They're basically to love your imagination, to peace on earth, peace in your heart, to love yourself, kindness. And in the young adult historical fiction, it's all about going for your dreams and knowing you can do it, never to give up. So that's what I'm all about. And people, again, can reach me on my website. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacalyn. And if I was there in person, I would be like giving you a massive birthday hug and kiss.
I can feel it right now, Diane. It's like, I do love you, Diane. Thank you so much for being here and for shining all your light as you always do.
You're welcome. Oh, let me just say one more thing.
Yes.
If ever you get down, just sing Tomorrow from Annie, and you will feel good and feel love in your heart.
Are you going to sing it for us?
No, but
No.
everybody knows it, right?
I
Okay,
remember-
just a little bit.
Okay.
Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're only a day away. There you go.
Woo! That was magnificent. Wow, I have chills. That was so beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been such an incredible birthday. I'm exhausted, I have to tell you. They want to have another party tonight, my family. I'm thinking, I don't know if I could leave the house, but I really appreciate you for taking the time, not just today, but throughout the last however long, year, 2 years, whatever it's been. It's been an amazing journey, and we keep moving forward. More and more people are coming to the platform, whether it's to join us or to watch us. And I just celebrate each and every one of you and the commitment and the time and investment that you've made to do it. So thank you.
Let us, as a group, all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us together sing happy birthday.
Oh, singing.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, Dr. Jacalyn. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
What people don't know is we have a 7-second to 10-second delay. So it's coming from all over the world. That was beautiful. I can't say I've ever had anything like that before. So welcome right back. All right, we are going. Red's, he's laughing. He was there.
I was singing also.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we're going to move forward to the book launch. It's going to be a very quick book launch party discussion because a number of the other people who are in the book already left. So if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave. If you want to stay, you're welcome to stay. I'm just going to rearrange some people who are actually, yes, Amina's leaving. Thank you so much for being here, Amina. Okay, so we have. All right, thanks, Diane. That's very nice. All right. So what we're talking about today is how to help children and their families learn how to listen at an elevated level. Now, there's obviously a number of ways to do that. I'm not a parent, so disclaimer. My goal, my effort is to find a way to touch the hearts of children and their families. And in doing so, it is through a book series as well as music. And I'm making an announcement. There's a new book series that's going to be coming out as well. So Red, you better get some sleep. Mariska and Madeline, I don't know what to tell you. Get some shut eye. So before we go there, I do just want to hold up our first book so that people, I don't like to spotlight myself, but I'm going to. So for people who don't know what we're talking about, this is the book series, The Amazing Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. This book series features animal characters, each of whom represents a real live human being, a person who is living and breathing and took the Power of Listening course and then made a commitment, made an investment to be involved in this project. This project is dedicated to Lady Baby Ella, whom I just saw yesterday and last night, the sweetest, cutest thing, reading her books. I absolutely love it. So there's going to be 7 books in the series. This is the first one. We have already launched the second one. The third one is what is launched today, and that's what we're here talking about. So I'm going to turn it over to Red, and then we'll just go around. Red, tell us about the work that you're doing on this project and why you're involved. And I'm going to go run and get the book. So take your time. Speak slowly.
I shall do my best. Speak slowly. Well, let me think. The book series was something that came into Dr. Jacalyn's mind. She had written a couple of regular books, and we talked. She wanted to get something out with the children in mind, primarily the listening part of it. And we chatted back and forth. Says, I want to do some children's books. And then she said, and I want to do 7 of them. So she knew exactly up front what she wanted and where it was going to go. I don't know that she knew that the third one was going to involve afternoon tea in London, but she knew that she had a variety of things to do. Like number 4, we're going to leave the farm and we're going to leave London. We're going to go out into the ocean. But each of these books focus on one aspect of listening. And that listening is something that's super critical for all of us, but it's even more so for kids, because as we develop habits growing up, those habits we keep. And if we can be better in life because we're a better listener, why not take advantage of it? And if parents are reading the books to their kids, then there's a chance to have that dialogue go back and forth, and the learning, the awareness of better listening is transmitted via the parents to the child. And so from that perspective, I think it's a fantastic idea of being able to get a concept and using the animals in such a manner that the conversation highlights, well, if you don't do this right, this is what happens. But if you do this, then marvelous things happen. And that's what she has taken along with Dr. Madeline Chan and Mariska Dupree. And they have created some amazing context of the book, the text that comes up. And then we have a Muhammad over in Pakistan, I believe, is the designer. And it's a matter of taking that context of the written word and saying, what do I need in the illustration? And that's always a problem when somebody is trying to interpret something. Okay, well, they left out this character, or where's this part? Is supposed to be in this room? And so it takes a little bit of extra attention, the fact that, okay, I'm creating the text to highlight a particular facet of listening. Am I really and truly highlighting that one? Am I sticking to my focus of that is the lesson to be learned? And if so, does the picture agree with the text below it? Now, sometimes we have this much room on the page and that much room down below for the text. And if I have this much room for the text, then all of a sudden things. So we have to have a balancing act. There has to be something of value in the illustration that's going to capture the attention of what's going on, illustrate that text, and at the same time, not run over onto the next page where now I have a whole lot of white space. So it's an interesting dynamic. And then part of the problem that we've had is that we get the text written pretty early, music done as needed, and sometimes we get the not the script, what is it called? The sheet music in time to get it in the book. But in order for Dr. Jacalyn to jump out there and have a #1 new book release, then she has to have it on pre-order, and the pre-orders have to be sold. And when the sales get up to a certain amount of time, within a certain amount of time at a certain level of sales, the algorithm in Amazon says, okay, or in this particular case, Kindle, because it's an ebook, says you are now a #1 new release. And it's kind of interesting to see this book go from 30,000 to 3,000 to 300, and then down into single digits, and then boom, you're a #1 new release. It's even harder to get to be a #1 bestseller because there's so many of those out there, and it's so dependent on the category that you're choosing and who else is publishing books on that date and how well distributed your book is around. But we get there to the very last end. Okay, Dr. Jacalyn, we have 16 days left. We need the last 72 hours. We can't make any changes. So 16 becomes 13, and we need another 20 illustrations in 13 days. And okay, we get the illustration in, and where's this at? We're supposed to have this guy here talking. He's not even in the and so you're sitting there and you're pulling hair and you're figuring out. And now we're almost on a nightly chat for an hour or so between Dr. Jacalyn and myself to make sure that this thing gets going. Okay, do I need to rewrite anything? Is this okay? That's too long. I need to take something out. There's something wrong with this illustration. Let's cover it on the next one. Anyway, so it's a juggling act. It's a firecracker willing to explode, because if you don't have it done with that 72-hour window, you're locked out. You can't do anything, and now you're selling stuff that you didn't want to sell. It's an interesting conundrum to be in, but each time we get to a point, hey, we got 30 days. We're way ahead of schedule. This is just, and then, okay, hey, Dr. Jacalyn, we're 2 weeks out.
Notice he's smiling right now. This is not how he always is, by the way.
And then all of a sudden we're 10 days out. Dr. Jacalyn, we're 5 days out. We still had 15 more illustrations to go.
Oh my God, I know.
And it's it's part of that. And then we finally get it. Okay, we're done. I want to be done 48 hours in advance. So that takes another 2 days off the process. We get it done. Okay, that I can make an ebook out of that one pretty easy. Okay, fine. And then you always have the problems that creep up because you put the cover into the system and the system doesn't like the cover for whatever reason. Oh, we've had a couple of those. Okay, and this last time I convert the book from a document .docx to a .epub, which is what they prefer. But for whatever reason, there was no table of contents in the children's book, and you wouldn't expect one. But the algorithm got hung up that there was no table of contents, and so they're giving me an error message. There's no link, active link between my table. Well, there was no table of contents. And anyway, it's a learning curve for both of us because the things that go wrong in that last 72 hours before they pull the plug on us aren't the same things that go wrong the previous book or the previous one. So we think we get everything down. Got that one handled. Okay, got that. And then a new thing pops up. So it's interesting. And yes, I'm smiling now. But there was a more serious tone as we were getting closer and closer because you don't want to put out something that somebody's paid for that's not what your deliverable. So you have a set of ethics. I can't. And so what do you do if you can't make that last thing happen? And fortunately, we've only had to face that one time in the first 3 books. So I don't expect we'll face it again. But those things happen where, okay, I got to make a command decision. Okay, Dr. Jacalyn, your call, your book, your intellectual property. You got to make a decision. And she says, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. And that's what we do. And so it's a give and take between the two of us, just like Mariska is involved heavily and Dr. Madeline is involved heavily in the text of what's there, the songwriting, whatever it may happen to be. There's the front end, then the middle end is really not much at all. It's okay, here we have, and I'll take and read through there and I'll put a 1 sentence. Okay, I need the donkey and the duck in front of the barn.
It's a
talking
swan.
to each other.
It's a royal swan. It's not a duck. I keep telling him, Caroline.
A royal swine?
Caroline's hair is going to start falling out if she thinks she's a duck. She's a royal swan.
A royal swine?
Royal swan.
A royal swine?
Swine.
Oh, you're saying swan. We're hearing swine. You're saying
swine is what I'm hearing.
I keep
Yeah, I'm
telling
hearing
him,
swine.
Caroline. I keep telling him.
Anyway.
You just
I don't
played me
know,
up.
rather a duck than a pig.
So,
Anyway, so
yes.
that particular evolution happens more often than we would prefer, but you need to get the illustration to represent what the text is. And that's the whole purpose of the children's book. If somebody can read it to them, they can see the illustration. They know who's talking to each other. And if one of the animals is missing, then it's not portrayed properly because that's the way the text is written. So do you change the text? No. Do you get a new illustration? Yes. Do I have enough time? Of course, there's only 24-hour difference between that part of the world
I
and
feel
our
like we're
part of
having
the
a
world.
therapy session with Red.
You can't get something turned around in 2 hours because by the time you're trying to get something from Pakistan, it's the middle of the night there. It's an interesting set of logistics and dynamics in order to get it doesn't matter whether it's a children's book or not. It really doesn't. But with regard to this particular book, there was some good learning curve in there. And anytime you have a learning curve, it's something that you can take. Okay, I'm not gonna let that happen again. And that's kind of what's happened on each book. There's been just something a little bit like when we tried to do the hardcover book. Well, sometimes there's something there that just doesn't fit the algorithm of what's being scanned into the system. Well, how do I fix that? How do I make this right? Okay, let's go jump through. How many more hoops you got back there, Dr. Jacalyn? And you pull them out. We start jumping through some more of
I
them.
need a guided meditation right now.
Yeah, so
Dr.
anyway,
Jacalyn, why don't you tell us what this book's about?
yeah.
What,
So
Diane?
that's
Why don't you tell us what this particular book's about for the listeners?
Thank you. So can I jump in, Red, or are you more?
go right ahead. Pretend like it's your book.
I'm going to ask if either one of my co-authors wants to talk about what the book's about, or you want me to talk about it.
Mariska hasn't talked in a while.
Mariska, you want to share?
Well, I can share very high level, seeing as there's been some, as Red described, pictures that changed and some of the finer details that might have changed. So I won't go from memory. But the general gist of it is that we are having a tea party. And it's the Royal Swan that's having it at her place. Of course, we can't have it anywhere else. And there's a few animals invited and a few things that goes wrong. So you will have to get the book to find out exactly what goes wrong, who does what, and how they resolve the issue.
And the lesson learned.
Wow.
And the
that's
lesson learned.
learned.
Very succinct. Thank you so much for that.
Very nice.
So, Diane Floyd-Bam, I'm very glad that you're here. I also want to point out that you are one of the animals in the first book. I'm just going to spotlight myself again because it's hard to see this book. And then I have a question for you. So, you are Zell, the gazelle. Okay.
Correct.
So, you have won a number of awards. You have, I don't know if it's 9, 10, 20, 100,000 books that are out already. And you focus on children and young adults. You also work with 2 different publishers. Why is it that writing a children's book, and if it is different than writing something else, another type of genre?
Oh yeah, there's a huge difference between writing chapter books, especially young adult historical fiction. You know, there's a lot of research that I have to do, and generally, so it took 5 years to do the first one. This one's we're working on 2.5 years, probably 3 years by the time it's finished. And it's because of the historical aspect to it. And you're writing at a higher, reading and understanding comprehension level. For the children's books, you write for your audience. So I bring it way down to their verbal listening skills, just FYI, as well as their grade level. And you take very small, you have a mission and you and a goal, a message that you want to get across, and you concentrate on that special message so that when they finish reading, they might have enjoyed the pictures, made up their own little stories based on the pictures that they saw, but they also get the message like, I really do love myself, Mommy, or oh, that person's different, but they're just like me. They're going to be my friend. And that's the big difference.
Thank you, Diane. I really appreciate that. Diane really is an expert. So if Red, Mariska, Madeline, Caroline, Hyatt, if you have any questions that you want to ask, Diane is here giving us her time. So let's pick her brain.
Everybody's an expert, so I'm sure they all know the answers to everything.
I have a question.
Okay.
So in these book series, which we have 3 books right now, we have only one character who is continuously showing up in each of the books. Is that a good thing or bad thing for children? Do they need continuity, or should the animals all be the same in every book? What are your thoughts on that?
I love the continuity. Absolutely love the continuity. I mean, everything is, every book's different. When I do Charlie and the Tire Swing, Charlie's the main character, and he's going to be in every single book, and people expect it. Lady Ella, I assume, is going to be in every single book because she's the wise one, even though you do have the wise one, Red. Sorry about that. And but no, I absolutely love it, and I think the children love the illustrations, and they look for Lady Ella, and I think they'd be sad if she wasn't there to help everybody figure everything out. So I love your books, Dr. Jacalyn. It's magical, and there's really not enough books that teachers as well as parents can turn to inspire kids to be great listeners. But also your books are really for everybody. And I just want to say your song, I hope y'all play it, is absolutely magical. And actually, you don't have to do tomorrow. Just play your song and you'll be happy.
Thank you for bringing that up. And I'm going to go over to Mariska and Madeline because they put a ton of work. And I also want to thank Caroline because Caroline has been the main character in 2 of our books. The first book, which is this one, and I showed this before. Where's the spotlight? Whoo, I can't spotlight. Here we go. The first one where she is the white owl, Tara.
Okay, she's the owl. Okay.
She's the owl. And in this third book, she is the royal swan. Swan. Named Princess Swan.
Not swine.
Swan. So one thing that is interesting is that Mariska is in New Zealand. They're a day ahead. Red's in Texas, so he's an hour behind me. And Dr. Chan is in London and is now 5 hours ahead. Caroline's also there. So it is interesting because we're in different parts of the world working on this project together. And our illustrator, who's a big part of it, I don't know where he is. Maybe he's in Pakistan, but he is, when we're waking up, he's going to sleep and vice versa. So it is interesting how we're able to collaborate on these projects together when we're all in such different places.
Isn't that beautiful? And also y'all are demonstrating that you all come from different walks of life, and yet you're demonstrating how we can all live together and have peace. And I really love that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
I think in the book writing business, you can do it in a modular perspective. Whether Mariska was doing chapter 1 and Caroline's doing chapter 3 and I is doing chapter 7.
Hi's involved. I love it. Hi, welcome. Come on down.
You can do a lot of things in a modular perspective, but at some point in time, if there's a connection between a character that Mariska's doing and Dr. Madeline's doing, that dynamic has to occur in such a way that both people agree. That's that's what I said. That's what I meant, and that's part of trying to get this whole thing put together, where there is continuity of the story, continuity of the illustration, and continuity of the lesson. Because we're sitting there asking ourselves, I think you asked the question earlier about, is it the words age appropriate? And we've come across more than a couple words. Yeah, would a third grader really know what that means? And then we're sitting there saying, well, we haven't talked about our focus, our particular distraction, or whatever the word is that we're trying to do. We need to make sure that we keep that particular focus throughout so we don't get too many pages where we're not talking about something that is critical of what we're trying to portray in that book. And so there's a lot of things there that have to be attentive to. And so when you have people from different countries trying to put everything together, it's interesting. I'm not going to say challenging because we have the technology to overcome it, as long as you have the time. But it's interesting in many, many regards.
Yeah, that's true. I want to talk a little bit about the third book, what it's about, and about the song that's not included in this book and why it's not included. But before we do that, I want to go to the second book, Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And Dr. Chan is on this book. Where are you? Right here. You're Crystal the Butterfly.
Yeah.
And Mariska is over here. You are the Swallow. What is your name, Swallow? I can't remember.
Pincer.
Pencer, that's right, Pencer to think. Who else is here? Alcini, he's always the problem in the book, which he's the problem in this book and in the third book also. But in this book, we actually have the sheet music for Listening Lazies, if I can find it. And that was kind of an interesting, I'm going to spotlight this. It was kind of interesting because when we got the sheet music back, if you can see it, it's actually 5 flats. Okay, so for any child learning how to play the piano, this is a tall order because I play the piano. This is a tall order for me. So that was kind of a learning lesson that I got this sheet music and just really didn't even study it or try to play it on the piano because I was so busy. But that was something that came to mind for the third song for this particular book. So the third song is not included in the new book. We're going to release it separately, and that's a whole separate thing. So this book, Lady Ella Has Afternoon Tea in London, this is not only about listening skills, it's also about manners and etiquette. So there's a tea party that Caroline, the royal swan named Princess, she's hosting. She sends out an RSVP, save the date. And then each of the animal characters who are here has a different role in the tea party. And what we come to find collectively as a group is whether you're in charge of the music or you're in charge of the food or you're in charge of the seating, we're only thinking about ourselves and what we like and what's comfortable for us. So for example, I'll just give a quick giveaway. One of the animals here is responsible for the seating and decides that they're going to bring something that's comfortable for that person, that animal, but it's not comfortable for any of the rest of them. And that was really genius of Mariska to come up with that idea. We're not going to say what it is, but maybe I'll find the picture in here just to show it. But that really says a lot about how we are in life, that we show up from our own perspective and we don't actually take into consideration how other people feel. And of course, these animals represent people. So what we want to convey also is we are a global society. And whether we're an animal character in a book or a human on a screen or in person, we have to take into consideration how other people feel and what their culture is and what their perspective is. Mariska, would you like to weigh in on that, or Dr. Chan?
I will give it over to Dr. Chan first, seeing as she hasn't spoken in a while.
Thank you, Mariska. I feel that it's really important, especially in children. I myself have worked with children and younger, as an early years educator. And a lot of the children are more focused on themselves rather than actually working interactive as a group and considering the others. So it's really important these skills are taught at an early age, because it's good that they're progressing with their own intellect and their own emotional growth. But also it's important now to also be aware that their friends are in that room. Their friends are sharing that same activity. So I think it's absolutely bang on timing and so in need for all to implement this to all early years. 2 years and under really actually can be effective too, but it needs to be installed and implemented now when they're young so that it's a tool for life.
Yeah, absolutely. Great point. Thank you. Caroline, the Harley Street stress expert, can you share with us how important in your work as a therapist it is to have elevated listening skills and to understand other perspectives?
Yes, I can. When we come together in a relationship or in our families or friends, colleagues, we're interrelating with everything and everyone around us, not only with ourselves, but actually with everything around us. Even if we're traveling, the people that we experience and interact with in any aspect of our life. And just a look or a miss comment or something that we meant as a joke might not be taken the other way, in the way that we meant it. And so it's really important to listen with all of our sensory, with what we see, what we hear, what we feel in terms of the sensory experience that we're having with others and ourselves, because we might be feeling uncomfortable about a situation and the other person is feeling very comfortable. And so it is really important to be acutely aware of all of our sensory experiences, whether they be physical, emotional, mental, behavioral, because actually it's not so much always what we say. 80% of our communication is nonverbal. So it's important to have that understanding and insight from everybody in terms of how we are being received And so mainly when we're having gestures, our physiology is speaking all of the time without our words. And so it's very important to have our physiology right. It could be that you're saying, yes, I'm really interested in being part of this project. So the physiology is saying, no, I have no interest, but the words are saying yes. And this is what we do. We can't hide our physiology. So it's absolutely integral to us being more in harmony, not only with ourselves, with our families, our friends, our colleagues, and the world, so that this is how we create an inner peace for ourselves, for our communities, and this is how we step into world peace for everyone.
Said the peace ambassador. I absolutely love it. Thank you. Thank you. I want to look at a different aspect of publishing a book, and that's editing. Hyatt, you have extensive experience as an editor. Tell us why this role is really key and can make or break the enjoyment of a book.
Too often we put it, what we say in the I can do this for you. Companies do it. They say the XYZ company, but that's I. What I do with in the editing I do, I think of the reader. When you choose us to do your editing, here are the advantages you are going to get. So it is putting it from the point of view of the listener. And I got this out of the open-ended question format that I use predominantly in my questioning. It changes the way the recipient receives the information. It can be the same 4 points. I could tell you, you could have said, I could do the following 4 things. I will edit it to say, when you, the reader, read this, here are the 4 advantages you are going to get.
Fabulous. Thank you, Hyatt. Any questions that anyone has for Hyatt in terms of editing?
One of the biggest things that Hyatt helped me with one of my books was the use of the word, and he used it right there, when. I was using the word if, and if this happens, if whatever. And then all of a sudden I went back in because he made a note at one of my editing sessions of, if you use when instead of if, then you put more emphasis in what you're doing. And I went back in that particular book, I think I used if 87 times. And in reality, I think I kept if 2 or 3 because it was really a when situation, not an if situation. So it's not a big deal. It's just a simple little word. But when somebody reads it, it's interpreted differently. If you want this or when you want this, 2 different kinds of things. So as people are reading, it's the words they're reading and what they interpret from those words.
Absolutely.
Put it in the form of children. And here, Jacalyn, you may want to incorporate this. How many of us as children and as parents have said to our children, if you do this, here are the consequences. Well, you say, okay, mommy's saying if, but I can get away with it, daddy. When you change that to when you do this, i.e., I know you're going to do this. You know you're going to do this. When you do this, here are the consequences that you are going to have to face. As far as, and in addition, words, the word that, if you go into almost 100% of what you write, just take the word that out, and it immediately elevates the importance of the phrase that word is in. So look at the word that, take that out. Also take the word will out. 85% of the sentences where the word will is, just pull the word out and it becomes, you will get the following things, becomes you get the following things. Major change. In some cases, in about 15% of the sentences that have the word will in it, you had to massage it a little bit, but literally 85% of the word of a sentence, when you see the word will, pull it out and look for yourself, see for yourself that elevates, because it becomes a now. It does not become a mañana. Will is mañana. That's going to happen later. When you say now, that means it is now.
Excellent points. And Hyatt, I really want to thank you. I think you edited my first 2 books that became the Amazon #1 bestsellers. And I was writing the way I had been taught to speak, which my father always said, the more words you use, the more intelligent you sound. So I'd have really long sentences with the word that over and over again. And you were able to eliminate a good part of the sentence with the same message being delivered more effectively with fewer words.
Yes, ma'am.
What are your thoughts about communication when it comes to what I just described? Are we more intelligent if we use more words, or should everything be in a Twitter, the number of characters in a tweet?
Less is best. My greatest mentor is Sir Winston Churchill, and he is the absolute master of brevity, wit, wisdom. I've done a number of speeches on him. Do it in as few words as possible.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone have any questions or comments for Hyatt when it comes to editing or word choice or use?
I'll give you an example. He basically Churchill summarized the Second World War in a phrase: "Never in the field of human conflict has so much been owed by so many to so few." Those of you who want to know the rest of that story, give me a holler.
Thank you, Hyatt. We have a question for you from Caroline.
I do feel that to reflect emotion is very important as well, not just to say things flatly. People connect emotionally to writing. What are your thoughts about that?
You are correct. And I probably fall a little short in that I am more of the bullet 1, bullet 2, bullet 2, 3, fact. I probably am not the editor you want for an emotionally based novel or fact based emotionally based book. That is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I fully agree with you, and also know that that's not my area of expertise.
We appreciate the candor, and thanks for the question.
So
I want to move on to
kind of the difference between having a French dessert and a German dessert. I will attest the fact that German desserts look absolutely, I mean, they look scrumptious, but they don't taste anywhere near the way the French desserts taste. But again, if you're looking at a how-to, the how-to is how-to, as you say, fact. But the end product, if you want the emotion there, you want that pleasurable taste, you have to go with the emotional side of things, not necessarily. So it depends what the outcome of what's your focus.
And in that respect, I will do a call to action. When you choose to do this, here are the advantage. Here's what's going to happen. Here are the results that are going to happen. Here are the advantages you're going to get. Here's the emotional aspect you might get. So I do not incorporate it in the whole body of work, but yeah, I do a call to action, which is a when you do this. It's a you oriented.
I'm learning things every minute of the show. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Mariska, when Red said the difference between a French dessert and a German dessert, you lit up like a light. What was coming to your mind? I'd love to hear what your thoughts were there.
Well, I do know that in general, we have a tendency to bring a little bit of the flavor of the language. And I also know that Germans have a tendency to be very structured in the way that they think and even within their language. And of course, the French has a bit more of a emotional flair. I mean, they just do things a little bit differently. So yeah, I absolutely agree about the 2 dessert choices there. And I think if I feel like loving myself, it's most probably going to be a French dessert. And when I feel like eating something that is really well made, not necessarily as lovable, it might be more German in its origins.
Thank you.
Now we know.
So well stated. Well, France is known for the bee and the lovers, right?
Passion.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. So I want to just go back to this book before we wrap up. One of the other things that I wanted to acknowledge in this book, as I look to spotlight myself, is we have 2 characters here, Gerard the giraffe and Mimi the cat. And these 2 characters represent Philip Sykes and Leanne Milton Mataka. And they are from the British School of Excellence. So we have shows with them every Friday, The Power of Etiquette and Manners. And now we have a new show called Children Live What They Learn. And the importance of etiquette and manners. If children were to learn compassion, empathy, respect, emotional intelligence, imagine how, as we got older, decades later, we don't have to unlearn all the things that we learned that weren't good for us. And that's part of what this book also instills. In this book, we have another character portrayed by Al Cini, sadly getting in trouble. I told him, Al Cini's the corgi in this particular book, and he just not listening and gets himself into trouble. So not only do we learn about listening skills, but we learn about etiquette and manners. And I just feel from a team perspective, this is the best team to be working with, because it's one filled with love. It's one about the mission. It is not about the money, because as you know, from selling books, I don't see the money. I see the money going out. I don't see the money coming in. But on that note, we would like you to buy our books, and you can go over to Amazon. I'm going to share my screen, and we would just love to get as many people out there to buy these books and get the message out about how to listen at an elevated level. So we have the second book, Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. And by the way, it's really hard to get reviews too. I mean, I can't beg people enough. If you could leave a review, it would be phenomenal. So we've got Lady Ella's ABCs of Listening. This also has the sheet music and the song Listening Lazies, which is what we'll close out with today. We have our new book, Lady Ella Has Afternoon Tea in London. This was just released today. And we also have our original book, The Adventures of Lady Ella, the Listening Mentor. So these 3 are available now. And our 4th one, which I can hear Red calling, in addition to the ocean calling, the ocean calls and Lady Ella listens. This is available in pre-order. It already became an Amazon #1 new release. And we have to get the book loaded in there by June the 26th. So that's all that. Just a quick pitch for Dr. Madeline Chan and a book that we're working on, book series Creative Hearts Awakening, the film and music book collaboration. This is also available, book 1 of 3, to be released October 12th in honor of my dad and his birthday. All right. Thank you so much for watching, for listening. What would you like to share as we close out today, whether it's in reference to children, to books, to how you're feeling, to needing therapy, a meditation? I'm not sure. Dr. Chan.
I would just like to say that I think it's really important now, the fact that with Lady Ella book series, we've got the songs to accompany it, because the different nurseries that I've worked with, it's amazing how they are still singing the nursery songs in the early 20th century. And that contains a very low vibration. And a lot of these young kids don't relate to this or resonate anymore. So this is going to be great, where these songs, which is the power of elevated listening for children to learn and at the same time have fun and sing with the rest of the kids. And I think it's so needed. This new vibration, it's absolutely needed, because, you know, if I hear Humpty Dumpty, if I hear Ba Ba Black Sheep, if I hear, oh my God, you know, Mary, Mary, quite contrary, I tell you, honestly, it's too much. It's absolutely, sing a song of sixpence. Hey, you know, it's a long time ago. They're respected for their time, but these kids do not resonate with these songs anymore. And that's why it's wonderful that Dr. Jacalyn and the whole team, we've orchestrated and come together and collaborated and brought a new vibration, which is so needed for these children.
I love that.
Absolutely.
That is so true. So true.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. I have one announcement. Mariska had to go. She had coaching sessions. So thank you, Mariska, for all of your work. The new book series that's going to be coming out after this one, but starting this year, because you know how I am, is Lady Ella is now going to be traveling with 2 other animals, and the 3 of them will be together through all 7 books. Who are they, you ask? One of them is dun, da, 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 a dream mentor, and the other one is a hope mentor.
Wow.
And Lady Ella is the listening mentor. The 3 of them together are going to go and visit children and families who are struggling with stress, maybe bullying, eating disorders, grief. And together they're going to find the hope that they need, because they have someone listening to them. They have someone giving them hope, and they have someone helping them to channel their dreams.
Is one of them a royal swine?
I hear another
No.
coming. I hear another song. Madeline, you better get busy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I've had so much fun today. Thank you. Thank you.
Get you back, Red.
Anything else you want to share before we go to listening lazies?
I just want to congratulate you again, Dr. Jacalyn, and your whole team. Fabulous. It's exactly what we need in the world. Thank you. Congratulations.
And you're the one blazing the trail. So thank you. Caroline, yes.
I'd also like to say a massive congratulations, Dr. Jacalyn. This has been an extraordinary Sunday night for me to be celebrating your birthday in this way. I feel very honoured, privileged, and most importantly, I've had fun. I've learned things, and I always learn with you as you learn with me, and it's a two-way street. I've had an incredible birthday celebration with you, and you've given me some thoughts and some ideas about things that I could do for my future birthday celebrations. So Woo! Thank you. Thank you very much.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Hyatt, please.
Jacalyn, real quickly, thank you so much for being so persistent and so focused for the years that you have been doing this. It's been an uphill run, and you've been at it all the time. I had the honor and pleasure of working with Caroline as well, and the team you have put together is superb, and I look forward to being a part of it for a long, long time going forward.
Yeah, Hyatt, back in the house. I love it. Woo!
And I want to say, Dr. Jacalyn, thank you so much in every way. The fact that the USA Global TV and Radio is not just a station, it is a family. And we actually don't work in a 3D perspective. We work together as unity because we're a family, and you're the mothership, and you brought this together. You are the mother.
Yeah, you're a mother.
You are the mothership of USA Global TV and Radio. And you gave me that confidence of, I always wanted to present and speak and talk rather than just to sing all the time. And so many people, I really visualize and hope that so many people were magnetized to the power of elevated listening, because this is what you've brought. This is your legacy. I mean, of many more, but this is your true legacy, to the world in every way, because you brought peace, hope, and inspiration. And just like Caroline said, wow, this is an amazing birthday. And the fact that you haven't made it all about yourself like some people do. You haven't. And you know what? It should be. It really should be, because you should celebrate your unique, beautiful goddess, beautiful creator, being self that you are, because you have an unconditional heart. You give so much. And you could go for that corporate company and you can have all them big figures. You know you can. But you've chosen your heart and your inspiration, and you've chosen to be a world leader to help people to tune in to a higher listening, higher hope. And I commend you. We all commend you. We love you. And USA Global TV and Radio wouldn't be here. It's not just a radio TV station. It's not. It's the new universal language.
Oh, so beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so touched, really, by everyone. All right. With that being said, we are now going to close out with Listening Lazies. This is a song that was written by, I don't even remember who wrote this. Who was it? Madeline?
You mean the music?
myself?
Yeah, and Lala.
And Lala music.
Lala. Okay. Not Teletubbies.
All right. Here we go. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And I hope wherever you are, you have a beautiful rest of your evening. And thank you for all the contributions that you've made to our platform and to my life. Bye for now.
Bye. Happy birthday.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank
Happy
you.
birthday.
Happy birthday. Bye-bye.
When we speak, we don't hear. It's abundantly clear. Listening lazy creeping, and nobody's gonna win. Look someone in the eye. If you don't, they surely will cry. You don't hear a word I say, 'cause you always look straight away. Listening lazy, drive people crazy. Listening lazy, making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy. Da 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 da. Listening lazy, drive people crazy. Listening lazy, making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy. When you interrupt your friend, you will surely have to make amends. Lady Ella knows the way to help you listen better every day. And what's that? It's listening lazy. Ba-da-ba-ba. Listening lazy, drive people crazy. Listening lazy, making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy. Listening lazy, drive people crazy. Listening lazy, making us blue. Listening lazy, communication goes hazy. Listening lazy, listening lazy, listening lazy.
Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to Story Garden. Your host, Diane Boehm. I'm so happy to have you here today.
Diane Floyd Boehm tells wonderful stories that warm the heart, spark the imagination, and unite people and families across generations. For children, Diane's Harry the Camel connects with all of us who've ever wondered how different our lives might have been if only we'd been born something better, like a wonderful horse instead of an ordinary camel. In the end, we all learn along with Harry that there's nothing better than just being yourself. Diane's Little Girl in the Moon looks down on earthbound children and wonders if they know she's just like them. A story of love, home, and the bond between mother and daughter, its powerful theme that we're each of us different yet all of us the same plants a seed in children that promises to blossom within a loving and trusting grown-up. Diane's new biography, Rise, recounts the experiences of her grandmother, Ruby, to reveal the hidden strength of the human spirit. Ruby's story inspires all of us to become the best versions of ourselves. You'll find all of Diane's delightful books and much more at dianefloydbame.com. Visit dianefloydboehm.com. That's dianefloydbame.com.